Ali. Kumungi rosa ka nga tilal rabay. Okay, Madam Malungit Tutaw, Ebabamura workshop forgive. Thank you all very much. What a wonderful turnout. Today we're here to look at EQPB's marine and freshwater quality regulations. These have been updated. So the whole workshop is all about the updated regs, and for especially thank you the state leadership and the contractors who are here today so that we can actually discuss and learn today how do we move forward using these new updated regulations. This morning, we are very happy to have with us Governor Smul, the chairman of the Governors Association, Governor Ondong of Ngatbang State, Governor Adalbay of SR State, Governor Rungulbay of Iray State, Governor Ngiratarang of Ngarlong State, Speaker Orum of Ngaramlungoy State Legislature, Speaker Ramalig of Salilu State Legislature, Speaker Marbo of Poror State Legislature, Speaker Freeze of Iray State Legislature, Speaker Zacarias of Hato Bay State Legislature. We also have with us legislators, directors, chiefs, partner agencies, especially representative of National Development Bank and PPUC, as well as contractors and consultants. My bad. Also with us this morning is Speaker Nira Kamrang of Ngarard State. Thank you all very much for joining us this morning. As we proceed in our... does everybody have a copy of the agenda in front of them? Okay, proceeding with our program, please allow me to call upon Benjamin Adalbay. He is a member of the Board of Directors of EQPB. Sadly, our chairman, Eliayob, had a little emergency this morning. So here to welcome you this morning is board member Benjamin Adalbay.
Ali, kotlule maluil tutaul mergid rogoi, togubetsel merengasule la chairman, Governors Association, temismo rablu rablio, barogui Governors ngartiang. Kaya mal mereka sulil omura kabin rai nang rule by mal nos LMEL directly mal to bet sel mereka saul morar ul speaker el ngartiar el alsils ya odet masengal chairman speaker sangartian yang dilake di suspudo sil mori marogui speaker sangartian directly sogal welcome rarogul tirgel al Tirgal contractors, baru il adal ngartial guk no soba ilmei, el guk melding ngartial workshop teatara kotak cloud tutelel, pola sa adri al kmer talsils, el base regulation, el mergi de rogol. Tirgal sel domese, sola sel state tial base regulation, chairman Governors Association, tial Jangan ada al time regulation el compliance ini al time jangan melamuk pede lu imadangnya rak mangmal kan mereka sulela anggale pir pisat iya engineer kemam mengartial coba karena merigel masih or kemam iya amod ngalil iya tertal loror EQPB lesam mis lesam dia malah proaktif lo sigal tu ulele Tomentia labor del wasik de magra rulitial the base regulation like Freshwater bolsa clave del mora clave BELAU selengaria del gora akra urena adal orang orang maluben to spege gilge evolvir clave el mergi de clave mang la adi gigi de aswal mung emergoe gida mongartial me de telal sigang Masel Bonyagir Mange, de Kadamor Agel go Magais, Malman specific el questioning. Medicul Meritiang, a club del mal, Terra Radra Borda, EQPB Rogui, Mal, Maversia, Ombrigasau, el Merigi de Rogui, the Malmsula.
Malmasau, la Director Adalbay, Malangite Mosubes, Director Lobenge de El Altutawa, Lieutenant Governor of Hato Bay State, Miss Victor Gomral Masaul. Shall we proceed with our program? With us this morning is also Legislator Elin Clolad from Ngatpang State, and we were fortunate that she was actually with us as we put together this workshop. So we asked her to come up to the podium and share some perspective that she was able to grasp during our review. Ms. Clolad.
Malmasulang adara EQPB rateal miska kate elega man sabi kal meeting emal ke kadep ang siya ang ora social imakal ora mo sa podium ngukman mage ka mga tamanggirin mo mula bebil guk moral mage kadep malueng mo adjustable malungil total mararo ko adar governor sama speaker sama aroko ora mutilinga ikal bulun nga siyang mal ora klor ngol to ora siyang e mga ego ego mesra ka no ka madeli ke ter ka mabdong okertian mal masal agimle atamle invite ter ka mar adar EQPB el mora akoramle ora brief film so del tegi del PS regulation el bolol tau teringi nga amal dia haklaw dengan nga kara EQPB ang mendiak di mga ramrum merti rabek kalsi adara ser sa mamsay masek pangyaku klemat tangalaba ol meramak amek mamluliw ser tirak may kangara lura loru lalakke madaw de yai ka ringit al matangala raikan masay hindi sa iki darak kom gi mga workshop yakoram ngoram arnya ko telgi baklaw dengan nga mangora dim lengak kalmo maknit tarung kurai kalo malese kal mortir lekkoram au realize alwasay tirkal adara EQPB adia ka atamir ndia ka dabir ndia ka almir ay ka rokul tokoy lorula amoklung yole adara ikalbek kal state travelur BELAU lengkid ovulu ekid ovda bekid oralma mang atay mal kimara alset ekid alquram ne gadebel workshop nga kam amal aswar alwasay ay kang alabay kiri rar adra EQPB malmas kamamar adra ikal state legislature mar governor sa ikal state makimo omes emarko nga kukrumulal amamel elguk mo sabel elguk mo koramo otoloto eringi all out leka nga atame rebel wat hindi kal klokli adra EQPB makkoramal marenga suli raklem nga telatay malsal maring low reor el mering lawri lomte emergi dar atray kal bulul melmal laikal tabet maikal lamed maikal atamer masegi sel korama makni tarung gorngil waseng clock clear ekadam melmal lomar terki dar atal dia kalau klalo mang akulingit talwase madora la edbora ka bulwa eboto titiki dal kasis akara dalonglet lek madengel wasya tamalle lata ata maral maut adi adi lomo le waklungel tiang ngomu ulen malga karyal watyang esel kaya kita lomo ulke karyal watyang ya arngela asil sama Sunday mabuy lamarak eng maral mol maklol talamal el matam malik yal da bela bulur bela rokit ngal mela bulur bela rokit ang atamela bulur bela rokit makulingit tergi da rokul wasay ngaringa bebira atleta ngaringa ratyal belar ilang waisel suwer abulur orior ngol tob dara ki kyong le morai ka kitele taba esel ki kyong al morada waisel bot sel kotel tob del morni rada sel kotel do speringa adar BELAU len sel karker el kida kotel mala kale terni sekit sel da mateng le eseki dia kotel mala kale terni raw erab udo ngawala ay kay kida kel kotel matamal makmak mangutel te ale malol ngi tergi do rokul wasay boto kay dide eboto la semal kasi sa akara dalong le lek madingel wasay sel ke kagel mo daswar makukut makling matarar adam bol waisay ekadam lakut moklay ka rang bol watoro hindi akal pera adara EQPB memal sergis hindi akal mel me maklat kergis mong girun makarang mang ngko ay kay biak tu hindi akan dir ngangal mo telbebi rasokal malokoy tara ko maklat kering kita wasay nga ka adraser sa mamasay makmasi braser sege omesel wasay tialba orela loral mel morger makurar tialba alqura obal marar melel yibak wasel wasem sel tur sel borngi ela khalsal mal clothing it ablan mul morsay mal ubengi gal ko pi halkiral maral laral maring maldita tu kal karang imolulang iyadel ya omul tay berdiringi yang kor kadisel utama May kaya kiti may kakadya lo musubal sa adal kasi sa akaratan mo malis. Okore mga smoke karabal wadling. Beto ka mag-closer sa BELAU. Mga daw may sara adrasina lola pa may sealer ngarang klel masin bay calcers. Ola bay chemical fertilizer ay kuya sa nga para dalawang breeder ngi. Mga daw mga rumor stir. Hindi sukum tangar ka balwa. Bol ngar ala dalawang may stir. Ya utamalong kateringi emelmal ringi. At tamir diakal at tamir. Ada bal ma ala bol matengar ringi. Omo alit ang diakal mo ulit. Ada balabon mateng arangi, ada bet ang diakal tabit. Tira to malitial balwa, korkera ubet. Mor merar kabalurir matomi da asmir. Ungila rendil lang ang magtela milyonong tela balur BELAU. Kita mga bule mga rem, elbal tamalya balwa. Masegi dia, amesay nga kalmer kita el altuta rogulwa say. Doraela, edom da social EQPB. Pol sabira da EQPB mo nga temir, elber lemera ikar nakabulwas, mo banggetar atara ikel olbira ikal bulu, ma arkabeno sa ikal bulu. Elo oltay kala argir, edanga edawes, edagat smokla, elguk mo atter ikel ular kabulwa de doltauta. Manguk mo nga alit atul, edaw aisel mortil wase kamem kuk mrelitel watiang orang nga alit atul tial regulation of science ringi. Nguk nga ringa klungyolen, eda share ringi rokul wase tiang kita klungyolen tiang mo poto rokul adel morul ringi. Ya lin dia kadobes, abela bulwas. LMEL ang helmet, atamel atmet, madabel adabed, hindi hal dabira ko other EQPB, sa other asina, sa other kelstang. Hindi kayo gidaksung, mal masular at Allah.
Malmasaula legislator Clolab. For those of you who are still learning Palauan, if I may, I'll just share with you a brief of the legislator's very inspiring remarks. So, for the legislator, we are all resource owners gathered here. EQPB is only following its mandate to help us protect our environment. One very interesting note that the legislator mentioned is the damage to the environment. It may start small, mostly it starts small, but over time it accumulates. And that accumulation, we need to work together with EQPB to address the accumulation so that we can actually develop sustainably. She went on to stress again, we Palauans, we are the resource owners, and EQPB, though many people know EQPB to be the one coming around with the fines, that's actually not true. EQPB is here as a tool for all of us, the contractors, the resource owners. So together today, let's learn what we can do to further help and protect our environment. On that note, allow me to invite Legislator Jeffrey Sambal Erung of the Malgayok State Legislature to come up and give us his perspective as he also participated in our dry run. Thank you.
Malungil tutaw, meron kami rokoy. Igel to sa mlamadung mang dapat kong isoy sa governors, mga speakers, mga kami kumisa delegate ng artiyam, hindi na kalman mga sulil mo sa belchon nagit. Agi yung umbral dim nga kama legislator klola amnor sa igidal meeting lun mo tong nga EQPB mo amlora ang kulo sa tiyang tigat lamle dimle kama mal invite kama malu invite to kola de dimlo ko kama terung amlor ngim mongor amlo tumlo to ka kilo se bol kama terung ako ko amok mo sa selgidal tial regulation Mailat telur kami mal betokol betokol ngartiang aktirel wase tika ko betokol kami wa tidak mutang lihat tokol environment makara tong dur kami mokmu ngodal tokoy al waso mul mo mengi hindi ak meneng asulil EQPB mlakut maklitial vessel regulation raran ma avaw lengga chairman amlo wise wase 24 years ako selut namo to ka vessel technology ablula mong tamnamo spe vehicle technology ablula matmok lagay gid lorior ngil tang arteng ebo ngil was ngara igel ku sepedro spere el time tukut buklaw rol mo yo ngakaya ka bol to ka ko yak yo wais kami lo ase kami ka bol lo ase selguk ngakalislator amli yo kundi nguk mlote legal uro Bureau of Domestic Affairs. Ese trangar lelo top de gagisel do tokmok lagi gitu regulation. Ito ruli announcement May. Mro mamo top di lego rabuai. Ya la kalwi de gero kul na todo el mo regulation abro BELAU. Se le merga mama geduro ko mai gelo bisho merga bernos. Menguriate eliu lomes mara travelu egamen tel rawe rabolo lo saingan nga president tel mulla. Ako lingitra kami umusal ko legong may muy ngosomil nga niya igel kami state ma igel adra blue mo gilel igel regulation dia ka mo dulu ko tiga gilel protocol mutoko ng atyang al matnget tel laura mo sa tel regulation makatingul mo segi de malmeng solar beklado ro kuya albornya akali nga kami ngla dire kalmornya ko raso loger gilela ya tegi regulation pata pol sepedro darsa garid ma podo ngi gel sharing o man sulang
Malmasaula Legislator Erung. Again, I will attempt at giving you a brief of what the legislator shared with us. Legislator Erung pointed out that the regulations, they're actually 24 years old. Yes, if it was a person, it can vote and probably have some beer on after 5 p.m. So they are the last update, or they have been the same since 1996. As he mentioned, these updated regs, they're actually they're updated to incorporate new research and technology, which can only help us strengthen our work in protecting our environment. Both legislators also mentioned that these regulations, especially the governors and the speakers and legislators with us today, you can actually take these regulations, bring it back to the state level, and look at how you can maybe tweak it, reword it, or maybe copy it, or actually call EQPB and we can probably sort that out. See how you can format it into your own legislation, into the state laws, so that you can actually put in another layer of environmental protection. I hope I summarized all of that for both legislators. So moving on in our program, we are right on schedule. At this time, we will look at the updated marine and freshwater regulation. Before we begin, the room is full. I'm very happy to say that both Peter, our engineer, and CEO Siwal, they expect a very interactive and engaged discussion. In your folders, we provided blank sheets, so you may want to note down some of your questions. But actually, as we proceed through the presentation, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Ms. Dilu of EQPB back there will come to you with a cordless microphone. We are on the radio live, so we want to capture every comment. And every comment, every question that you have, we will record it. And as Legislator Erung mentioned, we may have further workshops on not just this regulation, but other regulations that are being updated. So your questions will also help us as we move forward. So at this time, please allow me to call upon Peter Beshut, EQPB's engineer, and CEO Siwal Blesam to come up to the front and lead us as we look at the updated marine and freshwater regulations. Thank you.
Again, malmasaula emsirgidra Bernie Basebsa Bernie recently joined obviously the EQPB malmasaula el-bukko ngel mi emsirgidra el-altutaw malmasaula rokul governors marokul speakers ma delegate marbekal directors contractors mar consultants mar adrabang marbekal adal nusr ilmiya gidire galmal menga solidar adal ngarablu loreng sertal el program Malolingit say to ngara radio Lawrence yabol nga ngidil question ya obviously the EQPB directly open rabbit calcil sa dingwa 4883600 obon gather al tutawa Peter hanggang mo bro representation gidil to rang bar ding agimal mla oro lobongel make sure and clear delivery ringi ding nga kading artiang mal sumang mong ringi ako ra rawaran dirar adal gidel eng SEBECHEKLEL guk kora smoothie adang madilungil basul ledomo gal Peter mo present for about how long 45 minutes or so emergo nga kaduguk pray mong guk SEBECHEKLEL kora guk digest digidel bladangayel to milima ko hi stretch o ide guk lamutel continue digi malas malwasebol SEBECHEKLEL الممرق إذا ولانش إذا مرقو إذا قبريد على الوركشوب رقم governor والباي عمله 3 days سلقوك نتغير waste water treatment and disposal system regulations متيان عديبو ذا روليل مو أو سيجيد up to 1 o'clock مقمل ديول ميت مال سبعة ذا نعتر رغولي لملمي هم المسؤولين.
Morning, everyone. Peter Pesciut, work for EQPB. I'm happy to be here. Can everybody hear me on the mic? I'm going to pick up the remote mic and talk from over there by the laptop as we roll through the presentation. So, yes, as Siwal indicated, we want it to be interactive. We want everybody to engage with questions, very much like we did when we had the wastewater workshop back in November. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces here from that time. I know a lot of folks in the room. For those that I don't know, I'm glad to meet you. So we will roll into the presentation now, and like Siwal said, we'll go 45 to 60 minutes. There's a lot to cover. I want to cover it at a reasonable pace, so people have time to ask questions. It's regulation, so there's some law and administration behind it. There's a lot of science behind it. We want to make sure that everybody has time to ask questions to be very clear on that. Okay? So if you can get those two banks of lights, thanks. And we'll start. Okay, everybody can hear me good on that. Thanks. So first I'd like to say I'm very grateful for the kind environmental perspective words that we got from the two legislators. Yes, environmental protection is very important, and it does impacts on the environment accrue in small pieces over long periods of time. And the longer that time goes on without adequate protection and without adequate correction of those errors, the harder it is to get that environment back to where we want it to be. So it's important that every day is an environmental day. A long time ago when Earth Day first happened in 1970, it was Earth Day. Well, soon thereafter somebody said every day is Earth Day, and I agree with that. So, last bit of perspective on environment. The environmental movement since the 70s has grown towards a perspective of environment is a thing over there that we need to take care of, that we need to manage, it needs to be regulated. We're over here, environment's over there, we go over to environment and we provide protection to it. The fact is, we are environment. We eat it and we drink it. We are made of it. So it is us. So it's worth protecting. And in the places in the world where it's not protected, you know of a lot of those. You see it in the news. You see it on the television where it's not protected. It's not like it is here in Palau. They don't have the water quality, the aesthetics, the quality of life that you have here. So it's worth protecting. This particular presentation is about marine and fresh water quality, surface waters. Everyone who was at the wastewater training back in November, that was another training on a similar subject. I'm going to ask everybody to call up the similar theme that we're talking about part of today. We had the wastewater regulations that were revised and updated. They were 25, 26 years old. They served the purpose back in the day. Today they needed to be improved, and that's done. We finished that late last year. This one, the next one on board to finish, we just finished this recently last month, marine and freshwater quality. The next one on board that we are doing is our drinking water regulations. Okay? A little more specific than this. So the common theme that runs through these three high priority regulations that EQPB is attending to and modernizing, what's a common theme that runs through the three of them? Wastewater, marine and fresh water, surface waters, drinking water. There's a common theme that leaps out at you. It's water. Water is the lifeblood of Palau. Water is the lifeblood of us. Without water, life doesn't exist. When water is degraded, life is degraded. Environment is degraded. So water is the theme. So this is the middle regulation of our three high priority regulations. Okay? Surface waters. Okay? So this picture is one I took out on a dive I was on a couple months ago. Truly, there are maybe 10 places in the world that are this pretty. It's easy to understand why you're so proud of this place. So we will roll into the next slide. Another pretty place on the planet. I'm glad to be here. So we're going to talk about the purpose and then the major parts. We just can hit on the highlights of the major parts. Did everyone get a handout of the front page of the regulations? I have that in front of you, everyone? Okay, so we'll follow this generally. The entire package is available via PDF. We can send to people, and I think our EQPB staff has sent out the full set to everybody, okay? Please jump in with questions as we go. So the writing of these new regulations updated from 1996. Again, back in the day, they were good for what they were back then. It was a different economy. It was a different population base. So 24 years is a long time to go without updating. But I'd like to acknowledge the people in the room who were the main thrust of this writing of the new regulations. I'm the spokesman today. I had a part in it, but I didn't have the main part. So there's Siwal Blassam, our CEO, one of our technical writers, assistants, Edna Buchan, Soledad from our engineer in the back, Kimmy, there she is, I was looking for you. Kimmy, raise your hand. Okay. So they're going to be four key people for answering questions today. I won't pretend that I'm going to be able to answer all the questions. Okay. So we're going to talk first about purpose of regulations, go through the major parts on the slides, and the last thing comes at the end of the presentation a little bit later this morning, is the implementation guidance manual. That's a new thing. That's a new thing that's being implemented around the Pacific, especially for these types of regulations, because it's valuable to the contractors, the consultants, the government people, because it guides them on how to determine whether you're in compliance or not. In the past, and still in a lot of places, it's simply left to people to interpret the regulations and kind of trial and error, hit or miss, and that can get project proponents in a little trouble with the regulatory agency. Implementation guidance manual is meant to help that situation. Really, it helps people interpret the regulations. Okay, and that's available from EQPB PDF as well. We can send that out to anybody who requests it. Just send the request in to our staff. Okay? So, purpose of regulations. Regulations are necessary in any society. Government is necessary. Layers of government are necessary. Otherwise, it's a free-for-all and it's chaos, and everybody gets to do whatever they want, and everybody gets to impact each other as much as they want. And human nature that we don't really put good boundaries around that ourselves sometimes. So we have government, and government has regulations. Government has laws. Governments create laws. Laws empower agencies to administer the statute, and the agencies then write regulations. So it's just a common set of rules that we all have to live by, okay, for everybody's benefit. We're going to talk about in these new regulations protected and prohibited uses of water bodies, and surface water bodies is what we're talking about. Ocean water and streams and lakes. I don't know if we have a lot of lakes here, but a few streams. They're not large streams, but mostly ocean waters here are key. But protected and prohibited uses, just in a larger context. And then water quality standards. We'll talk specifically what standards mean in a little bit. So they're the details that say if you're going to protect the use of a water body, You know, how do you do that? How do you limit, what's the limits of a pollutant load you can put on it? What's the limit of a use you can put on it? That's a standard. We're going to talk about some of the details of that later on today. So detailed regulations, part of governance, are a common set of rules to live by to everyone's benefit. Right? They do protect health, welfare, and property, definitely. Right? And it's a responsibility of individuals, governments, project proponents, developers, to abide by them. So discharge of pollutants. You can't get away from a discharge of pollutants in the modern world. That's the nature of our economies. It's the nature of our energy usage. It's the nature of the material lifestyle that we want to maintain, the level of income that we want to have. Pollutants are here, they're with us, they're going to be with us for a long time. They're unavoidable. But to discharge them unthinkingly into water is not a good practice. So regulations, these regulations in particular, they overlap with our wastewater regulations, as many of you will remember. They're to limit pollutant loads, to control them in a way that you don't degrade water quality beyond a point that's acceptable. Okay? So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Any questions or comments at this point? Okay, top of our list on our major parts is the anti-degradation policy. So this is a commonly applied government notion throughout the Pacific and throughout the industrialized world where there's good environmental practices happening. Right? Anti-degradation policy is there's no new normal, meaning that if you have a water body that is very, very high quality, very pristine, like that one that you see in the picture. This was a picture I took a couple months ago out fishing. If you have that level of water quality, then the government doesn't write regulations that allows it to be degraded, and the public is not allowed to commit practices in the water that allow it to be degraded, and then that degraded state becomes the new baseline state. That's what the anti-degradation policy is for. No new normal, no backsliding, or not backsliding, no sliding down to a lower level of water quality and making that become the new quote-unquote pristine water quality. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's a push, it's a policy to push the maintenance of water quality. If it's high water quality, the anti-degradation policy pushes that it remains a high quality water body. Right? It's a background theme of all water quality managers. It's a background theme of EQPB. Does everybody understand that? And it drives our regulations for establishing our standards, our details, our water quality standards. Right? And it accomplishes what will be a recurring theme in our regulations. It protects public health, aquatic life, economic security. Water quality here is very much tied to the tourism industry, of course. Right? So, no new normal. The normal that we have is the normal we maintain. We don't slide down into a new normal. Anti-degradation policy. Any questions on that? So in order to establish standards and to set priorities in our programs, to write detailed numeric criteria, we have to classify water bodies. We have to say different types for different uses in different places. That's what this is. So this has been revamped in the regulations, been upgraded significantly to meet the circumstances of the modern day, different than it was 25 years ago when Palau became a nation. So, marine water. Does everybody understand what we say when we say marine? Does anybody not understand it? Marine means salt water, ocean water, right? Fresh water is, it's fresh water, it's not salt water, it's streams, lakes. So our new water bodies classifications, there's four different classifications for marine water and only 2 for fresh water. It's a question I asked in a presentation I was doing at EQPB some time back. Anybody hazard a guess of why there's 4 classifications for ocean water and only 2 for fresh water? Sounded like there was an answer. Why don't we only have 1 classification for ocean water and 1 classification for fresh? Or why is there a difference in numbers there? There's a good reason. We didn't make it up. Marine waters have a lot more uses. We use them, ocean waters, for a lot more things than we do fresh waters. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, okay? Okay? So the more uses you have, the more classifications we have. So we parcel out the different surface waters for various uses, which allows us what's the word I want? A greater spread of our environmental protection across different types of water bodies. Classification means types. Okay? So we'll have some examples here of these 2 classification systems. Okay. So marine waters. Here are examples of classifications. Okay. And these are all listed in the new regulations. You can go right down through state by state, and it says where Class A water, AA waters are, where Class A, B, B, etc. Okay? So Class AA, those are the best of the best. That's the highest quality water that we have. Okay? That's a picture out down near the natural arch, down in the Rock Islands. Beautiful, just beautiful down there. High quality water to be maintained. You would never want that anti-degradation policy, right? You never want that water to be degraded beyond its quality today. That sets the standard, right? AA. So A waters, closer to habitation, there's development on the shoreline. This is Meones, it's Class A water. Still very, very, very high water quality. But there's a couple of different features there in the Class A water than in the AA water. The Class A water, there's human habitation, there's some commercial activity, there's limited flushing by tides, there's limited depth, okay? Different than out here in the AA waters. There's a lot of boat traffic, okay? I said there's a lot of people activity in a somewhat urban area. So it's got a different classification. I don't want to use the word it's degraded below AA, but we allow a little more use of it, and the regulations that set the standards are just a little bit lower, because we have to live somewhere. We can't have AA water everywhere in the world where nobody lives, so we have to live somewhere. So we have one ratchet down from AA. Class A waters, still very high quality. You can see that when you go out and you drive by. The water quality is still very good, even in an area like this. And all the A water bodies are all listed in the regulations. One more rung down on the classification ladder is Class B waters. And obvious is a seaport, right? Malakal Harbor. Right? We have to have seaports, we have to have large ship traffic, we have to have shipment of goods and commerce, unavoidable, and the more there is in a confined space, the more potential there is for water quality degradation. We still regulate commercial activity, ship activity, human activity in these areas, but because of the level of activity, it's not reasonable to maintain that water at the level of a AA water. So we recognize that. Government recognizes that. We have to have a seaport. Right? So the standards for Class B water is lower yet than Class A waters. Yes?
In the States, their docks are B water.
Yeah, Edna has pointed out that in the States, I think it's 1,000-foot radius, 1,000-foot radius from any dock is classified as B water. Yeah. Yeah. It's 1,000 feet from any dock, any existing dock. In Bubble Dock. Very specific, okay. And in Koror, it's different? Okay. Okay. So Kimmy has pointed out in Bubble Dock, Class B is within a 1,000-foot radius of any existing dock. Okay? And again, because there's people activity there. There's boats come and go, people coming out using the dock, transporting goods around. There's a potential for a little water quality degradation there. Koror is very specifically called out what areas are B. Malakal Harbor in total, I believe, is B. Right? Yeah. Yes.
So only the seaport is classified B, and the other ports, the other docks in Koror are not classified B.
We need to speak into the microphone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can bring it over there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm asking only the seaport in Koror is classified B, and the other docks like the M dock and T dock are not classified B.
Thank you for the question. It's always been a very confusing part for us when we try to tell people. So in the regulations that we sent out, we've listed in a table. So as of now, Bubble Dock, it's the port, not the ports coming, the docks that are Class B. So any dock in Bubble Dock. But in Koror, we didn't make any changes. All we did was put that listing into a table to see. So in the list, it's Malakal and M dock, T dock, and then some other very specific areas that were requested by the state to be reclassified to B. But the rest of the smaller ports and other places, the one in our mid-Koror side, those are considered, those fall within the Class A. So if there's any changes that the state wants to make, it would have to go to a request to the board. And we've set into the language of the regulations how that request should be done.
Thank you, Kimmy, for that comprehensive answer. I used the seaport as an example of B water. That's why it's there. Yep.
Maria Karigil legal classification rao di megul tor bela altat ngaringa rapelu di legal soril momdangai selgume sertia grading system recommend walu tui raus legal basyo dia kalu tui ra kwase komlom sa basyo o momesiring grade B or grade A komul kwase arwa ol korodolom ayel korang ngaringa raat ay gidia sa pedalo meselo label medio ay gel ko tiagar adringiya adim tel geleng ay alubeng ay katungur o ay dai katungur amdal ngerigil meral mel meiwek mebetulay medig ngaringa bebi ringil gume sentia kumbra luaseng girel class A lembra na tabel ma pertakla nam takra tengita iete que sel bodorulang rang kumpuk maklas A. Agregela sentia kal seb iul mesa igang emtulas tadim tulas A. Seguid oldon dia dalong okmak tulul arng indi quality rada obringian namopi. Ongerung esem tuk matiamok klas P kom namorulia study lo otiak clicking lela lo kom di base raus P kom sulang.
Ali? Malmasaw la Governor rungul bayra malungin question. Selgot el questioner gao el girela wasay gal basho di debong mes el wild clothing it arengi maluben goram lamo dia gal waya el petoga do westerngi el ngigal maluben ngarang klel el mlarngi ngaramong el ang lamo dia. Wagigi del bashon del wadi de armari el gora di consider kmong kada di ngura el mobi. Sige the question ni Governor girel el multuira gora requester adra BELAU el mail wasay agim la mong subi tiang la gutmaklia ongtila BELAU wasay tagi del basho gukmlamo somam el melod rat auspa lel tang abasyo ul mong leway serang aramong ang aringa uspa ringi el paisawad el mga tmok ringi el osig aldo ulel adgut makli mang hindi kabol ang laksay gid uspa leader adara BELAU ringi akmul way sending maldi mo ultuira state governor ma legislature mang tagi del implement no ngara regulation ng mal CC a process say bay mlamov lakatakla process ra reclassification ang aramong ng walwadim lakal blaktakl wasay ngongit ang ngara governor ang ngara state legislature ang EQPB initiate ringi ding mlob lakatakl tel regulation wasay ongit tagirel ngara state el mera board ang ngari omsu lobangel maun mamto karwa consultant ng architect kadir kaluspe a business oy mansab evel tiri ako ulo omsu bulultura dire long tila governor wasen so mama bol waitat tukut makli sa lomsu be may sa long team ang erunga kora set questioner kal wasen sabela EQPB el kora alegong emru segi de lomsu segi dia kora mo o titwo leng ngungil ngar kami we gut makli may o ngungil ngar BELAU wel gut makli omsu wel may mendakal kamamale el so makamama mong kora msubringi ya gil amala sendiak ya mal gira de di erer sel girel ngarangi leng girel ngarbaba ngungil at ay mang mringar kamama le ko sa kame der lil mobi se ako kungir kami wa mruringin sab edel lo tira klisel so mi rather than kamama erong subringi me approve ringi lo seng mo ngarang oy arang sulang
CEO mo give safety de en bay ko adi de kalso adar ko o kere o itul wasi ay gal mi wasi Delhi legislator elid cloud adar wasi ablu ma ba bam ma ngagidele ral ma almam Magiging abayon ito wasi sel mongot moklay kay gid wasi lawon nga kabonor ray ang giren nga niya reliable and data el most fair ragal kakarosen BELAU el most be will determine el wasi mesel omdo wasi tiaki da kweb e kamla ombe sera across ra BELAU rogir Maganda ko ito kasi ay kalureri uru era bolan la anda kasi ulo bay sa BELAU way kama adar olbil sergi moru la agi mora community otobdil mora buhay tolo outer swir mugat mo kon mo ni lagel BELAU mo ulo kong bagi ito kasi anda kasi ulo maray la BELAU en boda do arbet tol BELAU e bomre sai kay ke pero kul basyo en ngari aral mamabaw e bay maral mo ngari afford bila kami malubeng standard dan most eri yung terkok kalwase ada ngalala BELAU gagi dabla dos buti kalwase kangara BAC hindi selboro miringi da BELAU rogi angarang lungu yakut tu angarang basyo ri yakut para makukal along delta so in overall it yagit osila EQPB na BELAU bol sa bamel elang kaman kumulase kung ala angar officer state kama mabida kang bonita rawli wase mem ki mga igal mal beto kala madira ka na help abrabulun mo da kasara waranji way silol ko ni legislator cloud abro wase gi dio monday tenda ka cloud mo dingir sige bi ako ati on tiwa Well, umsan mo ko kaigal cooling system kaigal tiyan luwin water sulang.
Dia amal kamar masaw le speaker amal lungil da ama gimal lanaw tay gay gidel droguil tokoil namadung akti o ay selwa sa igal regulations sa igal classifications ma rada bamaral kadamru lil EQPB amru lil madingel wasay al sumor nga pollution malubeng talamal yaral mada kadil guktil bol stop la nga kadi mo stop rangat panyedak pora angaram languy malubeng nga kadingar ore-ore kuktiak por ay mang igal classification sa rule ma regulation sa leng masab akla arangalela ka malubeng arangalela aral marabalu mandakal bol pol nga nga tal maleret yang el affect tara state segi dia kora segi dia gegi gel gukora gal regulation sa omes ra arangalela ay gagi dele every year selguk tokora aigal lomrul el regulation sing maral kora wal kabak pe governor EQPB maloro lobangela Ministry of Environment ma state leng giredel mo ultuira kora ungil planning ra state lo singarang kora project development plans ra state man sabi edel guk seldebora blue wasay gagida bodo reclassify el area kada maamrul mobi leng sawada bol nga hotel maluba kada zone el commercial zone ya adra blue ako ngel wasay kada guk sacrifice lang gagida el basyo el morngia ang arang klele guk meereng gagida el mongarnya o mangeda mangaramang ngwal kora kada maral ngaraw alel hindi kumdasa kada kadagida del motmak lawrer mang selbol guk makatmok lagi gida los ngela state to se so man mo reclassify tagi del ultura planning ra state el wasegi mo guk developer tagi del basol mangarnya ngarang klel el gora commercial development mang mo atera planning so segi dia aigal mang dia kadi the reclassify radabel gora dia ngil luul tagi dia من سبت سل both the change ra classification raral melmo o lower bloil dira katal request mas halagi mo abil mo a bloil di request ra state sa sorry dil nga sel nga bab mera lower classification leng wayal tel regulation na wal to talantangil ako teng protect ra uses malsuko mang ngarngia for example yun sa so, example tel di dal or mesringi mga daling lak lang nga ra marangara umangya daringi mga duberngi milil sel the other classifying in mobi nguk chen sa egigil activity asabel mo waya lul daktak ni makora bangkalon matwo bada makora kadam affiler ngi marangya wa hotels mangarang guk mo sacrifice sa adal gidel nga ra ako nga la sendia kang guk mo ngi tagis maselbol waiseng mo nga ayegidel dula seng potential pollution manya guk mo segidel second part ra regulation asal sukum angar nga gidel project tel mo ng makarado sa mookla ayel nga erosion malubeng waste ayel nga ra sewage al morngi guk tekal lutel mga tom lisel dab. So the regulations are ora two parts. Ang protect ra use ra adal usperingi men sabel usperingi da bolser malubeng malakaleringi sel ongero nga sel suko mang maaringi developmental more say gidal ral mang daw engara gidal gutmok treatment mang sel water quality standard ra gida gidal lotuti al suko mang morabi inda da sebi adim tamal el diga telete dia dom daswingi bin dingidel ngarngi al sumang mo discharge sa sewer el morngi engidel engel el hotel el development el mlagut maklinge gidel sewage discharge misel to badal mong ang quality ngi meter say gidel standard and as we go along egada mo discuss agel different or in the regulations ang mong ngegel dula seng water quality agel different classifications ragang man sabela adal sumang may apply a permit giwaseng asuma kam discharge el mortagi del dab engidel engel discharge effluent raga wal mo wangarang quality ringi adang seguida akmal lomer seguida tingam la seguida del melmol meloror speaker agi mo malas meloror lobangela negi mo las mangiram el mo lobangamiu mang seguida lolgor niya Bernie sab mamal el mo niya Mira State el dakay ni seringi mo motorgo kleg yaigang agi di mga alwaise kora maskida udaselo asel sumanga niya basyor ablumiu el somiu el mo reclassify el mobil ngarni ra planning ngami wagil mo nga development ringi inding wal gora taarbasul reclassification amalungil example ay rai tagi mitelo bangela governor giwase tagi dama prairai lagim long ama prapalaris el sel ay rai agi dadax mal sel segi del agi drogul tao mal ubeng dak around ringi al 1000 square feet radius liwakli segi da class B Mendaka al-sum sa malmrula gora aquaculture malubeng gora amgigre el commercial projects seldab hindi ka bodo reclassify seldab el movi already ngari ngado agi gora wase melnganya idea ra state tamang agi del basyo already sa edel developer ni da bodo trura da bodo bi kwa sa kala tamaliya water quality already well settle ngari sa del classification ringi mangungil to kor omu ler sa del الواسنغارجر أسواد البورنيا عن clearingi إدغورا أترغوك لمسل ميرا بور devolveyota a permitting process ringi. ده سادم لوان change or maybe أتيال ملاغال ماتيدا أمال جبلهم غور أترغ كلاسة تيدا يغدنغار سل ramp الدنغلين مغدنغار سيجي them demarcate ringi 1000 square feet around Segida class B, segida dimla ultrok regulation namang segida ako ramlo matrok and I think malakal al direct. Ding sa edel melmol mertagi del process, ela kami utal na mo madangalil waseng nga process. I'm sure yung malmo to ka request el meral may from the state el gida legal so mil mo designate el B.
Si ong ngarngi akari. Sel ayel belul ngarngi omo arngi wa idai marwang atmal mal maklo omo arngi ayge sel bol klo ul el beteng la bao ayge ko mal consider class A or ngok chen sa class ringi mobil mol mosel go global malin se gom gok mo ringi mo A segi dal abi regal girel mo clear adra belum mo understand ni musel beteng la bao ngok ngara astarus ra EQPB girel sulang
Ngoy say el al timing yel nga regulation and classification sa gaygidia. Asuman swad al change al mobi, aluban swad al change sa classification nagad modru sa gid el process. Di gukti to raba al merlal dangalang la dakal sa gidia mo qualify ra gid el mo change sa regulations. Di ba sa gid el lulukor nga Peter el anti-degradation policy just because nga niya ay gid el bao al meral mong dasat mi ko sa kada mo change sa ringi. هذا باي ملاس من لو مدستين راول مماني سيجي the source of runoff الماء.
Okay, adding to that mangakti ogel was MLA yid el belul makloa o mo aringi. Ngod a classification ringi mera yel go belul deka o mo aringi. Sen considering EQPB ra oktogora wa permitting ma EA manga sel boringa yid el go development travelu.
Sige del gul gorngi ra walel wasel so kumang mga nga project and more a particular site egi ultu regel nga existing el classification sa nga regulations dakal ultu ra kora mle one time event or kora circumstantial no so is mang selgibong dil so kumang nga egi del omomdas weng gide labor del consider and gide del Gili will feel free a governor sa low ice or say gida man sa amal mo matangali.
Okay, thank you, Siwal, for those good explanations. That classification of waters, and especially the difference with B, continues to be a very complex issue. Yes, we've discussed it a lot, that and I think what I interpreted from the exchange, it's not a simple matter of, in order to get a project approved, to just reclassify the water from AA or A to B. There's a lot more involved to it than that. Was double B water addressed? Okay, so moving on to the next classification. Double B is specific to one area and one activity, sand mining. Okay? This is, if you go out the East Channel, heading out towards the reef, go past a couple of green marks to port as you go out. That area off to the right, tucked in, big bay area. Apparently there's some water circulation dynamic there that causes sand to collect to some significant depth. And sand is a resource, it has value. So Colorado State government has decided to lease it for royalty for companies to go in and extract the sand. It's replenished on some basis. I don't know that anybody really knows how much, but sand mining takes place there. That specific activity had needed its own classification because of the potential impact. And really the only impact is turbidity. The sand mining kicks up a lot of sediment in the water, which then settles out very quickly. But still, it's turbidity levels that are going to exceed water quality standards for AA or A waters. So it was classified specifically for that use in order for state government to derive a benefit from the resource. Okay. Okay. So any more on classifications for marine waters? Yes, they are not universal one-size-fits-all classifications, no. And nobody does that. Any political jurisdiction anywhere, they wouldn't do that. They use water quality data acquired in specific location, the scientific literature, studies, specific economic activity in an area, different economic sectors. Your AA waters are very important and tied very closely to tourism sector here. Because of the nature of the size of the population here and the economic activity, there's very few, far less B waters than there are AA waters. So no, these are Palau specific developed. And as indicated, but the scheme of using these letter designations is a common theme throughout Micronesia. But the different, so the titles, the AA and the A, the B and the well, I don't know if there's any double Bs anywhere else, but the water bodies here were specifically assigned these based on local conditions. Yes.
Aktil mo tulolngit, ngoton maklog tutule la comment sir kami yung question sir kami uling katay nga se lo meslo sa kada makrang nga maungi lol taw taygal regulations makmalolngit lo sa sel nga nya karim kamal de siya imam gagida dilul or selo ba may sabel nga microphone le kong le sel nga microphone ng sab mamal recorder ni mang sabel mo ngila recorder discussion ergi maseluri urutya nga EQPB sabel lo meso ase okay tagida uk ne concern ng ramlungoy state adora el budulueng makrad address ringiye. So for you still learning Palauan, when you have a question, please raise your hand. Miss Dilu over there, she will bring the microphone right to you so that you can ask and we can respond, so that we have record of our discussion, because your questions and your concerns are very much important. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Yes.
So if the state, in Colorado State only, so if the state wants to send mine, they need to put forward a request to EQPB to reclassify the area?
Correct.
Oh, that's correct, okay.
And you might run into our anti-degradation policy when you do that, but that's to be determined through our due process.
Peter, I heard Siwal, when we talk about the measurement, the 1,000 feet radius of an area, she said for TDAC, we agreed that the measuring point starts at the ramp, and it's a radius. My question is, in areas like TDAC or similar areas, when you draw that circle, maybe sometimes or for some instances, the 1,000 feet might not cover the area as we see it because it's a circle. So the measuring point, for example, you look at TDAC, you measure it from your visual point, the sel omesang, look marataw, sige da point ra measure. Sel omun mo ay bibyo. Or if there's an area still outside of the circle, but visually it's still same area, can you, I guess, or use that as a guide when you're determining your area? I guess that's a question, whether we can do it or how do we go about it.
Delegate seguid el gora point el de start tringi liwaklia seguid ya gora giblom gor das werngiling tel regulations dimlek muti dak so seguid al sumonganya project el may mal ubing request el gukmora area around there di bols el mongangi seguid el request ra governor el may el ngangi seguid el request for reclassification naman namo blakatak el sel regulation mangi di bol sab el ngangi segi dal gora omsu will mo back up ngi if it's within the area ngora mal connected ending gidel mo sumang outsider segi dal 1,000 feet radius eng di bol nga request al me ruki mo mesring.
I'm guessing that was question was sort of the interpretation of terms about what 1,000-foot radius means and offset means. Okay. So classification of
Siwal for classification kadua siya igal tao ay class B balgula siya wadungura iraigel ngara uigul el melmutra ngakip ma talgu quest side igel tao langani rogo ay class B.
So ngagi da kimil dirgam le verify later adalbay el wasay igel docs al sel dungun mora babal dab including irai engige rogo el village docs ngani ngige del baby project to tamal village tagra ar mang girir el gora mo justify el waseng tiang maral mleta orabalu el ubengok timle e gora delibel ta engel mo foller segi del el class B.
Es el 1,000 el sel radius el kaskal el segi do umangi major
sel cool sel tao cool sel
tulang okay yang
tulang Mr. Joseph.
I knew that Class B issue was going to be very complex and take up a lot of time. So I think maybe we'll have to organize a whole day workshop on just Class B waters. We'll never get through this one. Okay. So freshwaters. Freshwaters have much more simple uses, fewer number of uses than marine waters do. So we only have two classifications. So Class 2 is it's protected. We have a little tourism activity on Class 2 waters, but still protected for propagation of aquatic life. Still meets a high standard. The difference between Class 2 and Class 1 is one criteria. Class 1 is used for drinking water. So it gets a higher level of protection than Class 2 water does. Okay? The surface waters are the drinking water source here in Palau. Someday you might have a well field on Babaldap and groundwater will be your main source, but for now, surface waters. So Class 1 are drinking water sources. Okay? Any questions on those? That's the I'm sure you all recognize that's the weir on the river and upstream about a couple hundred yards is the intake for PPUC.
Okay, so you said class 1 is a water source.
Drinking water source.
Yes, but if it's not being used as drinking water source, what's the classification?
It'll be
Like
class,
Maramloy has a lot of rivers.
it'll be class 2.
Okay.
So following on, just a comment on that, if there was a river proposed to be a drinking water source, which isn't right now, it would have to be reclassified as a class 1. Probably some more stringent regulations would be put in place for that river. It would limit development around it, setbacks, etc. But yeah, does that answer your question, Portia? Okay. Any further questions on? Yes, please.
Sorry, Peter. Okay. Pause. So if it's class water, as I see it, rule of thumb, this looks like a water dam for a public water source. Okay. Class 2. So by definition, after the water falls from this dam, then that's class 2? I mean, because if there were projects somewhere close to that and you fall into that area of gray, it becomes a question to be answered. So it's good to be clear for everybody.
That's a very good point. Downstream of the intake for the water source, would the water body classification change? I don't know that the level of development and economic activity, etc., has created those circumstances yet. But if they did in the future, they would have to be entertained by EQPB, and there'd have to be some discussion around it. Yes.
So as a suggestion, Siwal, maybe this exercise, we can identify those gray areas, and then we have a class for it, or it's defined, so it's clear. Yeah?
Yeah, that question just hasn't come up yet. It could come up as development proceeds in the future, yes. And it is common in other areas of the world where downstream has a different classification than upstream because they're used for different purposes. That just hasn't occurred here yet. But as Siwal pointed out, you would probably need to do an EA or an EIS on such an activity, propose it. It would take a fair bit of deliberation between any advocate of changing the classification and EQPB. Have to look at it when the circumstances arrived. Good question.
Where does recreation, like swimming, fit in for freshwater and aquaculture?
Swimming, recreation, body contact, it's the same for both classifications. Again, Class 1 is the higher level protection because drinking water source. So Class 2 is still protected for that. Aquaculture is relegated to Class B waters, correct? Because it occurs in marine waters, but in freshwater, I'm not aware of any aquaculture in freshwater. Kimmy or Siwal, you want to answer that? Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, so like Peter said in the beginning, and that a lot of these freshwater are being used for waters as a water source and as recreational area. Portia mentioned in Ngaramlangui, we use a lot of those for swimming. But if there's going to be a project, should there be a project that would take place in these freshwater areas, and we have some aquaculture that took place in Irai, then they need to do an environmental assessment, and we have to make sure that whether they're taking in water or taking out into the stream, impacting it in any way, that it in itself triggers the environmental assessment process, and we would have to make sure that the water quality parameters for those water bodies are protected.
Yeah, regulations and deliberation on these things evolve as economic activity evolves. So the circumstances haven't arisen yet. So when they do, we'll be here. So Ready to move on then? Oh.
Is there a specific distance if you're going to build a house near the body of water, freshwater or river?
Yes, there certainly is. There's setbacks, and that's a few slides ahead, and we'll.
Or is it like a state regulation, or is it a national regulation?
It's part of these regulations, and we have a couple of slides on that coming along in a little bit. Get an answer for you. Okay. Ready? So protected uses. So protected uses of very high quality water. Here they are in general. We have detailed standards around this. We like to fish. We like to have recreation on the water. Right? That bottom left-hand picture is a picture we took diving a couple of weeks ago. Reefs are just remarkably beautiful here. In the upper middle, if you were to go to the Mandara Spa to have that facial, it costs you $85. Here, you can just go out on a boat, jump in the water, and have one yourself for free. So, so you can read what the protected uses are. We've talked about that already this morning. Okay? So, and we have standards around water quality for different parameters that help us meet those protected uses. Right? So, general picture of protection. This is what we like to use water for. Drinking water, recreation, food gathering, tourism, protected. So prohibited. Don't see much of this here. That's good. Areas of the world who do not have the level of environmental protection, government action that Palau has a lot of this kind of thing in the world. Nets on the reefs, oil pollution, litter, plastics, especially on the seashore and in the ocean. Okay. Hazardous materials, no discharge. So within the details of the regulations, these are all listed out. You can go in and read it. But just examples of prohibited uses. And these make sense. Right? Any questions on protected or prohibited uses? Big part of what the regulations are about. Okay. So here is the answer for your buffer zone questions. In general, anywhere where there's human activity in the modern day, there's some potential for some pollutants to be generated. It's just the nature of our economies and our behaviors. They're unavoidable. Some of us are better than others in that. So in order to mitigate the influence of human beings, if you move human beings away from, limit their use near a water body, in general, you're going to provide an enhanced level of protection for that water body. And that's what setbacks are about. Okay? That makes sense to everybody? And they're very simple. Typically, vegetated buffer is just don't disturb the vegetation. Vegetation provides a lot of natural protection for erosion and for picking up pollutants flowing overland flow from rainfall, etc., drainage. Okay? So we maintain a vegetated buffer. We request that. We advocate for that. And then we have very specific for building setbacks. Keep people a certain distance away from the water. And they're different for marine water and fresh waters. So any questions on buffer zones before we get into some specifics for it? Just keeping people away from the water, a certain distance. Okay. ONRW, outstanding natural resource waters, meaning very high quality waters, typically pan sites, protected areas. Those are listed. There's a listing of that in the guidance manual, is that, or are they in the regulations, Kimmy? They're in the guidance manual. So we have a listing of ONRW that we can give people if you're interested in where they are. Right? All fresh water and the ONRW waters, 60 feet is a required setback. And with a vegetated buffer somewhere between the building line and the water is the best scenario. what we advocate for. Right? For marine waters, it's 30 feet. Right? And for Class AA and A waters, we do not have a setback for B or BB waters, correct? Right. That's why if you go around Koror, around a lot of the shoreline areas, you'll see buildings and walls right up to the shoreline. We don't have a setback for that. But for Class A, AA and Class A, a 30-foot setback. Anybody have a notion of why there's a difference in those two distances? Why for the freshwater it's further back than for the marine water? Why? I was going to give somebody a chance to answer, but it's simply because the marine water has got a lot more resiliency. It's a much larger water body, much more dynamic environment. So it's not as vulnerable to disruption as the small freshwater bodies are. Okay? And the freshwater bodies, especially the Class 1, drinking water sources. So they get a little bit further buffer back. It helps, just helps general water quality protection.
Would that be the same for if I were to use the area for farming instead of building the house? Would the distance also apply?
The answer is yes, it would still apply. Yeah, a setback is human activity. So it includes structures and farming. Yeah, comment about farming. Farming has certain potential for pollutant loads, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizer runoff, erosion potential. So the potential is there. We're not saying that all farming results in those things, but we establish a line that everybody abides by, and that just reduces the potential for pollutant loads. Farming in the modern day has a certain pollution potential associated with it.
So, maybe it can be expanded like commercial farming as opposed to like home gardening type or the small farms. Yeah, maybe it's better we establish the difference between the two.
Yes, malmasaw la daligat el point ringi, but farming kung ngarsel regulations sergi that are earth moving. Le farming tora omsibel sers awable exempted el activity ra earth moving activity ra tokotlo mo legal regulations. Di erngel atay megadanum tigla sigal sers sa kadana muspe arwa Mary Taylor coming daksal adrasers magigid lo masil wals elmal kora domada maging galut mabol uling mre dadangit mangulto legigid el gukmla mo teletele el altime esegid el farming al tilling and plowing amlo part the earth moving regulations regid marugul commercial farms sagid low permit masel gukpel apla permit tagigid el maklol sers especially adra legal sers adra sina mar adra BELAU el maklo engiri el memla permit te segid el buffer zone requirement ta ko kick in o ya edire galda dil se engiri el masibel gora follow ra kantura ut malsuko mangora all dangaleng lenda kalo si baigal aigal al luis el gora di mal maltal dangaleng lel me uleng di all dangaleng lel mura aigal watershed matamasibel gora mga etangi ito ko ram civil ko ram mga etasiyal ko ito ko ra masibel ko al pirak gal utam abang kami rupa ko matingi ito ko ram civil ko ram mga etangi mal masulat tirgal maasamral matingi mal sumugod mo uspe advice rasers kadamora wa misklo la mal maklo lo nge gira gigit tulang.
One more request here. CEO Director, begitu kora, ngito lo say, ay kagid el doru el udra el ungila intention ergi de protect ra out mababet. Once el mrula survey ra kora sales. Len nakal bato korgi da angara commercial farming. Bato korgi da bay nga ra ga dio sales el digalet. Si sul time evo mo niya say tetelar kama man dio sales el digala uspe avia kalla karto uspe ay kal commercial fertilizer. Molbol nga niya gigidar ko exemption ra wase asugum nga kamlo sales se kukma dio uspe natural fertilizer mal medenge makuro eliado buranga kaman dia kabol beteng al moraran bol nga niya gigidar consideration es tiala al gidira kukti adalo makuro ula kalir o ilang kamam tel ngalom ilang sa lo se sekme dararan ngungil lim na motor ko klasen tel alfit hindi ako kula kamal at meme rimke wala kasi emlo se selen tiagi dala am otringi yung momring rigi sulang mong wala diongit sulang
mal masular ongit. So akmal appreciate tagal ngamin tras speaker ang ramlangoy diregal mal aktiregal wal hotel workshop gida wadi dol all tagay gida standard el wasiga gida ngarngi mal suko mang qadamara el mo ra blul adar gida bol ngarngi maklol project el mail tokora sers mal ubeng tokor o makada araw el maklol lurior bol sel ngarngi gida el wal gora mo protect sel ngia water source gida digidar other BELAU agotel ngarngi atletele dado orula urior le gadamrur ngilom dasra moklung yolirar bekal at mandakal segida makora wada bigik karingi kada bigik la guk moklol project el media galodnge igel ngi arngudel gel igal natural resources adgid mingidel ngarngi gaigidel walgor olgaba gaigidel makitel urior again a state amalgi mongar ingil wasebol el diregal mormula lul el mutel mongar babra gaigidel ur malu bebod wasay sabel within radori fit a buffering in igme adwal magel guk talom lelngara dalongel ngim omwa lelmo o sabel almerit mending protector gid man gadil wal koradi is ngariya tangit amal ubeng maknit mot moral sel sulang.
I knew these buffer zones were going to be as complex as Class B waters. We'll have a whole workshop on just those in the future. Yeah. Okay, some criteria for single-family homes. On freshwater, no single-family homes within the buffer zones. Near-shore waters is permitted with conditions. What those conditions are, we won't get into those today because they're always very site-specific, they're use-specific. People often have their own individual criteria for what they want to do with their single-family homes. So we entertain those on an individual basis. Okay. Now we've been going about an hour and 15 minutes. Probably everyone could use a break. Yes, Eric. No, it does not apply to Class B water. No. And you can see that around everywhere. Okay. So, let me see what the next slide is. Okay, we can start on this, and we're going to get into a little bit of the science of water quality protection on the next several slides. But why don't we take a 10-minute break? It's quarter till. Come back at 5 minutes to 11. Everybody grab something to eat and drink, and we'll pick it up from there. Is that okay?
So how about we continue with our presentation? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Bernie. We will continue on. So, and hope everybody enjoys their lunch. So, Next part is we're going to get into a little bit of the science of the water quality regulations, standards. This is a question already.
Will to town mo Reclassification siwal awara dalut el malmora details hindi di swagel find out el wasetial swada obaskida astarus ertiar regulation Akira waseng ketikira lagi matangelo aset como lo go through a process el solicita comment hindi akira waseng lamombre kamang comenga forgive my ignorance nga ngaraw lilyo malaroy mong accessibility nga more information na ada kalau sisi ungi mara ada ngar orior ay rai di so ada mo ngelo sia tel regulation ng lamita aroguil EPA requirements mamlamara president mla sign ringi magida ela ka di masada dara implementation seguida que
Malmasawla Governor Smul ramalungil question ringi el gidel tegi del implementation del marine and freshwater quality regulations tegi del lolgorngil waseng APA process Administrative Procedures Act tegi degi mulbalol tauter tel urior le tiang mga era PNC Title 24 el gidel overall environmental quality protection rablu BELAU en morning gigi del regulations Masayid lulugorngi abor the member Yob alwase adalbay alwase tiang 24 years ago last the developer ng regulation matel doruri nga maldimle update improve ringi but agigi the rule changes el mora regulations agira del change through Administrative Procedures Act ngidel nga sige the legal process elbo through rangidi lurior el momolod angidi regulations Magim legut maklisaygid al process mang makoteng mlongar nga agora tegi del gim relil gora group EQPB el made up of water quality specialists ma manager lab ma scientist ma engineers ma makamal technical officers office gilt makli draft oral lobangela adra la arabor del dire lo mesaygay make sure in line with the BELAU ediral milaya comment raguk specific groups community seragim developer telurior and diral those resources EPA WHO ma rogoy international guidance el gira legal standard el gida kada review legal standard sendirgo rior yal sugo mga nyangal sa sel improve tegi el review process amloringi Serabol merekseging ilul morabor the more than once maybe 3 times I'll give them through telo bangel abord le board awal gidil initiate segi the APA process Serabol finally mlong rabor the makamamal lo Mr. Telurior ya ging ilul morabor dra April dori mabor damle abord awable adapting mo regulations emergon ging ulmora Administrative Procedures Act among Mlora radio stations, Kimle post notices, regular public bulletins, Mlora radio station, Mlora agagi dele radio station mat announce ringit motel regulation, tegi dal domes ringamle available for public review and comment for 30 days. Mr. Abol Marek Segid, ya President giblem kimlo Marek Segid del process. 1 month the review comment gimlomrege sending mo officer president telobangel igel comments el giblem ngai merong president amle omesaige amle approve tel regulation ra May 14 2020 terabol mera president tel approve ngi ngira melmengi mo May dori mo for it to take effect masaigi del May dori nga ablo effective tel regulations
Having said that, the governor, and like I said, the update, there's seldom lang ang regulations. Improve ringi mo atter ako uspa ledra ringi. Madira ko ligay gid technology sa guk na mo available. Sige del process, governor, as edel mutalo uspa ringi continue lo mesaygang review and update mo atter gid matya kalula bangalel telurior. Kada implement ringi yok o mesaygel nga gida del mo mga smoklal gidel isab edel move to go through say gidel process. Normally legal regulations governors mas figures hukto meser every 3 years hukto review and assess kung dir kungil tiamal no ko rakamang tal time el dimla ka resources gidel sab edel gut makli ding Direcal part together el LMEL meeting mukha ding ngal sumuk mo nga ngal sang cell and sub edel go through the APA process yung klamog tal change ay gigit yun.
Good. Okay, thank you. So on to standards. These are numbers. We put real numbers to parameters in order to protect water quality. So standards mean something to measure against. So we establish a numeric value. Sometimes it's a narrative qualifying statement, but generally these are numeric values, numbers not to exceed or not to be less than in some cases. And these are the major categories of the standards. We went and revisited all of these standards and numbers to ensure that we had standards that were consistent with the technical community of practice, the scientific literature, baseline conditions here in Palau, local conditions. So these needed a refresh after 24 years. We've done that. We won't go through all the particular numbers because it's far too complex to do today, but they are listed in the standards in the document. Excuse me. So I wanted to be clear that each of these categories, there's different sets of numbers of the different water body classifications, double A, B, double B. The numbers, some numbers are the same for some parameters for more than one classification, but generally they're different. Numbers fit the water body classification. That's how these came out in our revision of the regs. Okay, so just there's not one number that fits all waters. Okay, so we'll just roll through these and briefly touch on these different categories. Microbiological is essentially viruses and bacteria, pathogens, disease-causing organisms. What we test for is indicator organisms, which, if they exist at a certain level, is an indication that there could be organic pollutant loads, disease-causing pathogens present. So we were able to revise that number up, which is a very rare thing in this type of work. We revised it up from 60 to 130, which at first glance, it looks like it's less protective. Well, it's really not, because after 20, 30, 40 years of developing science and very large data sets and studies by various government agencies, the 130 number came out to be a much more realistic value. And in this case, this puts less of a less stringent burden on the regulated community. It's a more fair number consistent with the scientific literature. Right?
Just to add to this, these are standards. Cellular nga Peter, waseng nga standard del dos pe ringi DL al time to regal the BELAU malmel BELAU as 0. Kada malingal tangat igal nga standard the self arnya to lurior ma maklo mo source of pollution el mo rarab mal ubengral mel mo ngarnging gay del baiging ringi. According to Kimi, Rigel test the conduct EQPB, the BELAU maldirga pristine. Tell the la test and most of the time kadangara 0.
That's another good indication of the good water quality we have in Palau. It's worth protecting. Not a lot of places in the world where you get very low numbers or 0 most of the time. So mainly to protect recreation, especially body contact recreation. If the numbers are too high, it indicates that there could be a pollutant load and potential disease vectors in the area. So, okay. Okay, chemical standards. There's a lot of chemicals in the world, even in something as simple as your household medicine cabinet or your cleaning closet. Lots of chemicals exist. We won't go into the whole laundry list of them all, but an important one is we updated, added the ammonia toxicity standard, which most of the industrial world has now. Ammonia occurs in various household cleaning solutions. It's also number one nitrogen decomposition product in wastewater. Right? Ammonia in the environment is highly toxic to fish and wildlife, and we include it in the regulations as another measure of protection. Right? So the first two here, pH and dissolved oxygen, are extremely important, but I'll just touch on currents second. Standards to protect current patterns. Activities in the water, especially dredging and filling, change current patterns, obviously. Current patterns exist mostly in a natural state. The ecosystem around is coming to equilibrium with them. Currents are very important for maintaining quality water, mixing, remixing, distributing dissolved oxygen, keeping temperature stable. Current patterns are extremely important. So we introduce standards to maintain them so development in water bodies won't alter current patterns to the point where water quality will be impacted. Okay? pH is a measure of acidity. Okay? Don't have much of a problem with that here, but it's necessary to have it in the standards, especially for discharges. It also overlaps with our wastewater regulations. Living things exist in a very narrow range of pH. Typically, most people aren't aware, but drinking water, nice clean drinking water, has a pH of about 7, neutral is what we call that. Acidic compounds such as lemon juice or household vinegar or muriatic acid that you buy at Ace Hardware for cleaning purposes have a much lower pH. The lower the number, the more acidic the compound. And the more dangerous it is to living things. Nearly all living things live within a very, very narrow range of pH, somewhere of around 6.8 to 7.2. Any variation outside of that is generally deadly to living organisms. It's just part of our biochemistry. It needs to be very tightly regulated. So we establish pH, a range of pH for surface waters. The ocean has a generally high pH, a little higher, a little bit higher than 8. It's got a very large buffering capacity, but a discharge, a point source discharge, we can talk about those in a little bit here, that would have a very low pH and acidic input into the water could certainly affect marine life or freshwater organisms within immediate locality of the discharge. That's why we regulate pH. Okay. Dissolved oxygen is important everywhere. Dissolved oxygen is the one water quality parameter that incorporates the general health of the water body. It's an integrator of all pollutant inputs. If dissolved oxygen is high, or high enough, it's an indication that things are good in the water body. It's the first parameter that starts to show stress when there's a heavy pollutant load. So dissolved oxygen is necessary in aquatic systems because animals who live in the water breathe water just like we breathe air. We take oxygen out of the air through our lungs. Animals in the water take oxygen out of the water through their gills. It's the same operation. They need enough oxygen in order to maintain viable life. The graph on the lower left there is a general depiction of dissolved oxygen criteria for fish, specifically here, but it applies to a far range of organisms. But fish are the most important aquatic
species for us. Generally, anything below 5 parts per million or milligrams per liter, it's the same unit, you start to see stress on fish populations. Fish, some die out, they move to other places. Anywhere where there's depressed, dissolved oxygen, you're going to see impacts on fish populations. The higher the dissolved oxygen, the better it is, the more fish populations are supported. Some fish do a little bit better at lower DO than others, but generally 5 is what we aim for. Other organisms like clams, mollusks, worms, things like that, they can live a little bit better down on the lower end to the left, but they're not as much of a concern for us. We mainly are interested in protecting fish populations. That 5 milligrams per liter, 5 parts per million, is an important number, and that's true for fish populations throughout the world in any kind of waters. Okay? So the question from the audience was, what causes low dissolved oxygen? Well, the number one thing that causes it is an organic pollutant load, typically things that discharges from a wastewater treatment plant. Okay? Discharges from leaking septic tanks, poorly constructed leaching fields that are near the water that put a heavy organic load into the water. That's a number one pollutant that will reduce dissolved oxygen. Okay? And so we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. One of the benefits we have in Palau is, one, we have a lot of mixing. We've got a lot of deep water, a lot of mixing, a lot of dynamic ocean waters, and moving all the time keeps it very well mixed. So there isn't a highly localized effect in a lot of areas, but there could be, and that's why we regulate it, why we set a number on that. Okay? Okay. Any questions on pH or dissolved oxygen? Toxicity standards, we adopt these from the US EPA. These are very complex regulations. The effort it took to come up with these numbers that we adopt by reference takes a lot of scientists working a lot of years with very large databases. They're solid numbers. I just put the table in the background as an example. These are all available online on the internet, US EPA website, and again, we incorporate them by reference rather than rewriting the book on these. The work has already been done. By reference, we have a reference to US EPA standards. Whatever the US EPA standard is becomes our standard. So biocriteria is a little more difficult thing. Biological criteria. The living things that make up the sea bottom, which is a very complex ecosystem of fish, lower order animals, seagrass, algae, etc. So biological criteria are hard to establish because they take a lot of study, they take a lot of time, people in the water, a lot of data collection, and the natural world, if you're studying more than one thing interacting with another thing, becomes extremely complex very quickly. And that's intuitive. But the communities are groups of organisms living together in the same place. So coral reef is a community of organisms, right? Seagrass bed is a community of organisms. It has a lot of things in it besides seagrass, just like a coral reef has a lot of living things besides just corals living there. Well, as a community, stressors, pollutant loads onto these systems can cause them to change their characteristics over time. And that's really what we're aiming for here. An example might be an area where one time was a very vibrant coral reef with lots of coral diversity, lots of fish, a certain amount of healthy algae, the benthic organisms like urchins and sea cucumbers, organisms that live in the sediments, all living together, very vibrant and healthy. Over time, that reef kind of turns brown. Algae takes over everything. The corals die off. The fish leave. And you've seen a community transition from a healthy coral reef environment, very diverse, to a very monotypical environment, meaning one or a few species present, and all the other species have left. So you see that shift in an aquatic community, and it tells you that some pollutant load, some impact has created that, and it occurs over time. So how to set a standard for that and how to measure that, that's not an easy thing to do. These are mostly qualifying criteria, qualifiers, narrative statements that we make. So if we get reports or we have information, data collected over time that shows, say, a seagrass bed is diminishing for some reason, that would lead us to investigate what that reason might be. There could be a pollutant load that we're not aware of. But when we see that happening, we've got some clue that there is something to investigate. That's probably the best way to explain that. Again, biocriteria are for long-term changes, for overall community health. To classify down one level? Well, so if I think the question is from our CEO, if an area was shown to degrade, could be from natural causes rather than human causes. If an area degraded for some unaccountable reason, where it was at one time a healthy coral reef, and it could be because of sediment load, it could be because of changing water temperatures, it could be changing circulation patterns. If an area was degraded according to these biocriteria, meaning the conditions were lowered, and there was no reason determined why that happened, could that be used as a basis for downclassing that water from, say, an A to a B? Certainly that would have to be something we would have to entertain and look at. Yeah. So the answer to that would not be no, necessarily. It would not necessarily be against our anti-degradation policy. So in specific cases like that, we'd have to look at the data and make a determination. So that's a good question. So, and there may be localized areas where that's possible. So. Okay, this is point source discharge. This is something new. Well, not new. We've enhanced this significantly in these regulations as well as our wastewater regulations. We started to touch on this back in November in the workshops for the wastewater regs. We didn't get into it real deeply because we knew we were going to get into it more here. So point source discharges. Point source means a wastewater discharge coming out of the end of a pipe, right, into a receiving water. Receiving water means the water body that receives the waste input from a pipe. Point source, you can think of it as comes out the end of a pipe. So, this is a picture of the outfall at Malakal. Right? And any of you who drive by in your boats occasionally, you know exactly where this is because you can see it on the surface. Right? These are two different pictures of two different ports. You can see they're a little bit oriented differently than each other. Right? So point source discharges right now, there's very few here in Palau. Then the major one, of course, is the Malakal wastewater treatment facility. Some are being looked at by developers for individual hotel resort projects. We haven't had a full application for any such thing yet, but there may be one in the future. But point source discharges are controlled at the treatment source, and that's Malakal wastewater treatment facility, the new facility that's going in. This discharge is a little bit discolored. Maybe treatment here isn't all that it should be. It's obviously introducing a pollutant load into the water there off the reef. Okay? The new wastewater treatment plant is going to improve this situation tremendously. Okay? But these types of discharges, especially the larger ones, are very, very carefully and very tightly controlled by the regulatory authorities everywhere. That's part of our job here at EQPB. Okay? So we have limits on point source discharges for what certain parameters can be. Nitrogen, phosphorus. We don't regulate dissolved oxygen. Nitrogen, phosphorus, suspended solids, biochemical oxygen demand. So we set limits on what the pollutant load could be from a discharge like this in order to protect the receiving water, to protect the waters in Malakal Harbor that this is discharging into. The reason this has to happen, we have to have point source discharges because, well, we have to release effluent before it's treated and perfectly clean. It's not economical to treat wastewater down to the level of our water quality standards. The technology is certainly available, but you can never afford to do it. So what we do in wastewater management is we build wastewater collection systems and treatment systems, such as the new SBR units going up in Malakal, and we treat wastewater down to a certain level of cleanness. And that's as far as we go, and that's for economic purposes. The remaining pollutant load in the wastewater, we discharge to the natural environment, and the natural environment cleans it and assimilates it from there. That's a very common process. It works extremely well, but it needs to be controlled. And we control it at the wastewater treatment facility by making sure treatment is appropriate. And we control it in the receiving water to make sure that how much treatment we provide protects the water adequately until it's assimilated. We're going to talk about that in the next slide. So does that make sense to everybody? You cannot treat wastewater down to water quality standards. It's just too expensive. So we treat it so far, then we release it to the natural world. The natural world takes care of the rest of it.
So, dilmutal gora o si isel gora nga Peter. Tegi del point source discharge permit el altaming kada di ospera tegi del permit ra malakal sewer treatment plant. Leng dia utmal ngarsel nga malaal el SEBECHEKLEL lo tugurang gel waste el bodo discharge ringi e kada ospera utmal waigal bebir oblil el sumen dia connection el mora sewer kada ospe aseptic tank ma leaching field el treateringi. Le tial waste tagirel gira del treateringi gira del either mora utmal uben kadala ora evaporate din dak tagir mangirel el more tagi del point source discharge nga point source discharge permit. Selbol waising girel el mo treateringi el mo segi del quality gida swader selda e gida mo tir ma EQPB amo monitor segi del el effluent. Ding ul mang important tagi dia in the tel el aldoral mo in SEBECHEKLEL mo botoga hotel sa ma project development el guk maral badula abashol dia al connected del mera orior malubeng bashol dagal SEBECHEKLEL dingi lo tugur sel waste dingi sel utum lingyang arngi mang mo girel mo treater sel waste e morong mo sigi mo suvi sel dabel wasens el lo tugur ngel effluent e gado mo durus segi del process e SEBECHEKLEL dingi del make sure tirgel mo moruringi a follow a standard dergi dem gupta bol tamalliya da ya EQPB amal ganya capability ringi el make sure gada dol tawta ya gidel regulations e make sure kada to monitor e treating gel dab le sel level top den gidel wal gikyong en gidel mlamit te gidel standard del logo Peter. And then in the next slide den mom sadar se gidel gora evaluation process malubeng sel motelet lel al discharge el moradab. So it's very interesting process.
CEO sulang aktiwat chairman association and degal ignorance agi mal masar tigal okya gidra aklakang orangal mer BELAU magidi masar tira vehicle seals mandiaksal aware tiagidel guk vessel igal updated regulations iso kaloger sel til agidel rangal tiagidel al issue mak or tiagidel atendal dargidel ang tel part regulation magugel wasi agel kadi masadra igal guk sewer system ang rabulul me agel waigal liveaboard maigal yachts el guk cruiser sel lagoon madaw ayeng atiang address segit so mga address ngin dire guk ngara process el dogodro ngi inform EQPB regegi del guk liveaboard malu particular vessels el ngara igel state dangay
ang way seguir el process ra liveaboards walgora dimla ngar sel got el regulations tel wastewater waste 30 hindi tel water quality regulations prohibit any discharges el morada vel nga motomali vel gir osperingi mang parte tagi yagi mlewa sengirela agegi the liveaboards el mo o nganya treatment sel waste 30 alsum tomo discharge or to level mera blue discharge digi mlewa se badagot el mo survey el wasen maltelang liveaboards are they having their own treatment on board magimla omur segi de lower labangela PVA ma tele Bureau of Transportation magor state rangers magi board gegi del vessels inspect el wasengarngi treatment regel vessels el gidela wastewater malsugo mang diagen gidel mo ngani gel ula state mal ula national government tra atogora shipping el gidel oltaut but most of the time dire galmal do aisel el wasetir gagi dar adra port tanggal speaker ngarar da dire galor port el speaker ngira kamera mang oil mal gargi kel wasesel men girir el qola pump truck etamongi omon balmera ablu dagal allow til discharge even mal ngara port to asen class B ding murtasen dia giri walol tauta gagi del regulations mang mal ngarngi agora effort el ngarngi diga da mutel mangal milisi kadamol mutel milisi mang masab aridel tabasul implementation tel marek la adam guktal ngarngi disabaril discharge mar gukon ngarngi dagal sabaril
Okay, any more questions on a point source discharge? We're going to talk a little bit more about what happens at the end of the pipe in the next slide. Okay? Mixing zones. Mixing zones are necessary for point source discharges. So you can see in the middle left side is the Malakal wastewater treatment plant. You can see the bright line coming across the reef. That's the discharge pipe that comes out of the plant. It's 18-inch diameter ductile iron pipe. It's laid very shallow across the reef flat, and about where the white arrow is where the discharge point is at about 55 feet below the surface. So the pipe comes out, dips down along the reef face, and discharges. That previous picture we saw is discharge about where that white arrow is. Okay, so because that's still wastewater effluent, even though it's been treated, it certainly isn't of the quality of the surrounding ocean water. It's still wastewater. It still has a level of pollutant load in it, but it's greatly, greatly reduced by the treatment facility that's on shore. So releasing it to the natural environment, the ocean water, there's going to be an impact in a very localized area, and that's what the mixing zone is called. Mixing zone is an area where treated wastewater effluent can be discharged and exceed the water quality standards. But it cannot exceed, it has to have enough dilution and enough mixing with the natural environment in order to meet the water quality standards at the edge of the mixing zone. That's the goal of the mixing zone. So it's an impacted area of water that we accept because we have to release treated effluent, but we only allow it to go so far. And that distance is calculated through a whole complex process by engineers and technicians. That's actually being done right now for PPUC with a consultant on board. once the new facility is up and running, the treatment works is fully operational, we will have a calculation of the extent of that mixing zone. That red dots that I put around there is just representative. So we will have a very accurate calculation of where the mixing zone ends out there in the water by the discharge. Okay? And the preliminary information on that is it's on the order of a couple of 100 feet. It's very, very small once the plant is up and running. Because the plant is going to, the new molecule treatment works is going to provide a very high quality effluent. So its release into the environment for natural assimilation and its final cleansing process, according to natural processes, is all taken care of within a few 100 feet of the discharge. So that's a good news story coming. Any question on these point source discharges? Yes.
So, Peter, this process, as we see it, is applied to the marine water. Does the same process apply if, for some instance, areas of fresh water, like rivers and streams?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, most of these point discharges on the large continental areas, like the U.S., Canada, Alaska, Europe, they're all in lakes and rivers. Yes, same idea. Yeah. In the Pacific, of course, we don't have big land area. The discharges are typically to the ocean water. Oh, maybe we don't allow it here because of this. Oh, okay. Sorry. Got to have a correction. Yes, in other places it happens all the time. Here in Palau, we wrote that it does not happen in our surface water, in our fresh surface waters, because they're so small, and the flow would overwhelm the small water. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Treatment and mixing zone?
I believe it's just Class B. Point source discharges are allowed only in Class B waters, correct?
Oh, so just to add a more question, force, سقومة discharge and دقل سبقرير discharge نجي effluent المورا Class A. ما سقوم مور سيجي نجي لكوك موترورا water reclassification. Emergong or segi del guk determination ra mixing zone, mo issue ra permit ra point source discharge.
So there's a added complexity to these mixing zones and to any discharger. Right now, the discharger is PPUC, a large organization. They have resources, but let's consider the case of a private enterprise, a resort that wanted to build its own wastewater treatment plant, which is certainly reasonable, and they wanted to have their own point source discharge to a receiving water. So first they would have to deal with the reclassification of the water body if that was required, depending on where the resort was going to be. But a mixing zone is calculated. It's an extremely good estimate, but it's not necessarily precise. And so part of the discharge permit process is that the permit would require and does require for the one permittee, PPUC, that there is a ongoing receiving water quality monitoring program, meaning that on a regular basis, and it's typically quarterly or 3 times a year or twice a year, there's a set pattern of sampling areas out in that water to determine that the mixing zone is indeed being abided by, meaning that the calculations are correct. So there's a water quality monitoring plan that a discharger has to conduct. So they would prepare a plan, give it to us for review, we would approve it, but it's a series of monitoring stations that remain the same, and so many times per year, the discharger would have to go out, take samples at certain depths as specified in the plan. This all has to be figured out, with us. They would have those samples analyzed for certain parameters, and those parameters would have to meet certain levels, and we would do that. They would do that kind of monitoring within the mixing zone and at the edge of the mixing zone, and then typically one step beyond the edge of the mixing zone to show on a regular basis that water quality standards are being met where they should be, that the mixing zone delineation is is accurate, and that the treatment effectiveness at the treatment plant remains what it should be. So it's quite a complex process to build and operate one of these systems. Typically they are done by utilities, large utilities like PPUC. For the private sector to conduct such an operation is a big investment, capital cost in one, to build the treatment plant and an outfall, the pipe, but then there's long-term monitoring that never goes away for as long as they're under operation. So it's a significant technical effort and a significant long-term cost. But people are asking if they can do it, and they want to propose it. We have, between our wastewater regulations and these regulations now, we're in a very good position to permit these types of projects appropriately and to guide any applicant on a full and complete application.
So algora di edang gida CEO ra PPUC ngartiang Mr. Daarong halwaseng mal gora promising sel nga area ra mixing zone ra malakaler el altaim based ngel consultant tel hiring il mo calculate ngel gida mixing zone leng awul mang waise ya ngil malungi la treatment ter servap say gida SPR treatment plant tel bol installer ngi hopefully by end of the year or sooner. Enya more segid ding in order to keep persegid el kagare el mixing zone ngil el malungi laurior segid el treatment plant continue to work malmso lang Anthony mas EOs il joiner gid dilu maiga oh Machani bravo joiner gid
Oy, ako obis sa CIP. Ela selba ka obis sa kama mga ringi raw sewage di metto betan question mo send direct kal mo part the child permit kung consider say gid raw sewage sa di metto ang direct kal approved the mixing zone nadang nda ka consideration na kami.
Malungil question kadamral kora malaswara adra CIP el di kervitar se de obviously se gidel di imral seleng direct sel nganya complaint magim respond del mo ang degal momring legal isnya del melor tel bula roswich omda sutrigal adel me aurora tel sutrigal tagol bangaranga takalsil sertindi malungil la question ra gal adra CIP te degal permitted el discharge point maigel ngia time nga discharge el momteng say ya board of all issue ra notice of violation el mora PPUC e degal board mang la fine ra PPUC gidel say emlang ul mora court el gidel say mang ul matamalo re other tegidel updates ra sewer treatment plant ra ngamla say gidia sayidol gornya pirak mase gigid el outfall pipe el ngura balu el mertiang as el merangagi del mal small masel labe gigid el gikyong aral men cloat el dilute ngi men gigid el dabe mongi la quality mbukta el effect gigid el bashol meliwekler ngi diesel omngi raba si IP mal dagalungi el bashol mornya discharge magi order el lobentra adra PUC marbek el adgoro state ndiregal mal concern mal aware kamal masulang ra malungil point hindi sede al discharge point ida ka mixing zone ida ka ngidil permit ngi ida ka sabela mixing zone en mo ngi nglamo ngo imelige mo sabelo rio
CEO, can I say something? Ko mention ra PUC mal masaul ngel boy gara CIP. And I hope they will move away from there so our pump station I'm just kidding. Dia temporal dia legal elatial project
the ongoing project will hopefully resolve that issue. Ang most of el mo diya ka say gidwal gora discharger say. Like it has been there for the longest time. Let's say gives area SEBECHEKLEL originally was planned to be the discharge zone. And the mlodya kal sabel matmok letuk le move ngin more serba bra amlan. Say gid and ding blorngi say gid the discharge. So this project now is going to address that discharge. Komal sular aklamotela time and malura bulending. It will be.
The microphone is on. Have lunch. Please enjoy your lunch while we're.
Si wal kadangara PPU sim de ko na trigger discussion CEO. Ela ka mesetial mixing zone المرة عمل عمل جيوك من طريق المشيشي والتلاتة لا
أجي ذلك أطبع ذا بيبي راجيم قرا discuss لو بنجلا PPUC الواسين مصب إلا عمل أجي ذلك عمل جيوك treatment plant لو تقول موت البطوغ البروجكت المرالمون اللي مرالمون مبطوغ قرا perspective projects المرة عمل جيوك ما جي ملا قرا أو مسج أجي ذل التلاتة اللي سبقال المو سيل capacity را عمل غيوك treatment plant تا مقلو من مصبرير المرال أدريسا بتوغ البروجكت اللي نيا لومداسوا بلور بيلاو المرنير عمل غيوك but السغو من مرنير عمل غيوك إن مال سبقال التويرا OCC والبروسيس مال دي مويرا assessment ما capability را site لو تغورا ويسيجيد yes مرنير غو بيبيرا باشول أمودير سبقال a mixing zone malubeng discharge mangguk among nga gi awul magila del access so sing SEBECHEKLEL andia le mention na deligat ramal gayok el alta menda discharge ramal gayok di recirculating geralma sel permitter tira dimla ka discharge permitter ramal gayok da discharge pipe sel sewer treatment plant ramal gayok amal. There's about 3 phases of treatment ng our cell plant. Ending ko SEBECHEKLEL di otogura gagare el population ra malgayok ma capital malsuko ma expand ngi ngida del malmug tel mongil assessor ngi and adeligat na bring up ra malgayok ending igaro ko el state ra tigagida governor sel ngartiang also munguk mo nga projects el mo require gagi del discharge en malsab amiwala makadaw malube ko mi katuk at adol gidel.
Okay, mixing zone. Oh, there's another question.
Tira kariya si ora pipi si altangwa sa elsmodi. Selva kwasra ngurul wopala. Sel lobby aral mlolim ringir orioret tira ngusel tengit el mulak tabdira ay. Siya kata wasyang mixing zone, alo po wasyang pakwas zone ng selak luida mo banggelak chlorine mang aul direkal digangi ramdal merulo bel merengat ki wasya direkal luul lo patang kita lo mom river ngi mang direkal ora morngi omsu berngi yang direkal pulai rai komsula.
Nda kamal masula ka Bernor nda ka saygi del gora discharge permitter a PPUC Morsel Basyo. Amrani agidel buk nga niya areal set aside for settling agigi the roguyel al backwash water. Di sometimes ang guklamo o muy segi del ngal gidel mo nga niya gel discharged water guk mo nga niya tel melela equipment tayga da sam abebira time ang guk nga niya magigare el goramo rabtak raurior ending kada continue el gora ol ni taklay nga sir adara balu mga mokal mongil. Yagi da CEO
Saule Governor, mal saule siwal mlasobo clear PUC. Margong kadabay ulangit arbekl state governors, arbekl leaders raigal balu. Luasi selbori yagi the system selmera igal balwat. Memang da ing seul di regel sa wasiora igal system sergid. El mosobe del gutmok momita igal rogul requirements ma standards. Mandiakala kora di magigaril ngara mauriu le uguk da address ngil close issue. Aku meseringi igal water system sa igal blue ra ba balda ba segi da dirgal ma close issue.
Hindi because of the limited available land. Maluwet na almutul mo malaklo clearar Yang mo mering rapi usil gutbok laigal ngara. Kadabay uspe sa igidil ngesor arbeklado. Meklo tul gawal morsele grila da delegetra angat pan. Diregal masaula si ora EQPB mla adres indi komendenge aiga uspe funding. Makadolong itro olbira ululaw. Bol ngusugit. El mesa aiga igidil issues niya maklo tu trail giradil matbok. Elal time el bay dengara tial COVID-19, kumna sen namo time el bay domesa igal issues within ourselves. Itagat mok la igal necessary requirements mal mutra hospital al sum de kare. Ito aragar los pe igal funding. Bolso ve del diregal address ay aptol issues. Kom sulang.
Malmasawle CEO da rong ramalungil el comment tarakaw. We'll continue with the presentations with Peter. Continue nga niya questions. Please mo lunch. Aygal bifstu malurula mayang malmlongil murula kaled have lunch. Rukta continue masada tel malungil regulations.
I knew that point source and mixing zone was going to be a complex issue. So we're going to have, along with Class B waters and buffer zones, we're going to have an all-day workshop just on mixing zones. More to follow on that.
Aktiral maldi oling aktiral daw ay sargi darogol was delegate otoba da guk ngartiang al kado delegate tringi la kada mol ringi ding ngartial consultant al dider ending I'm sure sel guk staru ringi delegate ra olbi leng may gel guk tiginge ma ong tidra funding eng malmong e guk messer sel mosabel ding ngartiang al consultante sulang.
These are complex systems, technologically, cost, and I have to applaud PPUC for moving in the right direction on this. You'll get there. So next, dredging. We included in the regulations, update on dredging. So issue with dredging is typically suspension of sediments off the bottom, disturbing bottom habitat. But dredging typically takes place in where it's necessary. People want to give more depth of water for some reasonable purpose, whether it's dredging a channel for boats to go in and out, dredging a dock area so boats can dock at low tide, greater access to the water for people with boats and for obviously commerce in the main seaport. All channels and all dock facilities always fill up eventually. It's just the nature of dynamic of water movement. They always need maintenance dredging. So it's not a matter of is dredging okay or not, it's a matter of best way to do it. So we have a lot in the regulations about that, and we can discuss particular projects with people. New areas proposed for dredging, previously undisturbed, that's a little bit different story, but typically, dredging is a fairly expensive operation. It's not done thoughtlessly. Typically, there's some infrastructure need that people need for either livelihood or recreation, socioeconomic reasons. So dredging, it's an issue of doing it correctly with the correct protections in place. We have a lot of guidance on that when the time comes for your projects.
So, diregal dredging, tegi dalgor amo omingis, segi dalgor niya Peter mula sing moyor sel teletelel, makadugok minimize sel impact al more environment, ding necessary sometimes el gida dal maruringi. Ding longan nga gigi dal months el wada because en guk coral spawning months, gigi dal time el modera dredging ringi ye. Mang mo selbom el sumungan niya application regal samal dredge, gigi mo special conditions as a certain months of the year in Degam dredge because those are the times legal coral sa LMEL. Arangye.
Yes, thank you. I forgot about that aspect of it. Yeah, important, and that's I'm not sure how long that period is, but somewhere around 60 days, 30 to 60 days. But we can define that for you. That's so it's in the regulations. Okay.
I have a question. Siwa angel awatao Kita mahal ko ramlo malakta ikal ula EQPB. Mato era di malay namio siu. Margo ikal tao kamamrang mo especially. Sel tao aray mayo nga los pe tikal ngal ngara namomring ra tel mo tuoble ay gal gabur sam la maral me ma tel dangit am la me metial peringi o maka mang man la mom ngara sab amal kut makilo yu kay regulations o mangis marubeng ngaral babela gira mal kut mo klemo sab il kut maklisel tao lang mala urior di wala basonda ya kasi el ro irsel nami osiul.
Damalungil el question el asel guktungur sa igidel mo ora maintain na tao ay igidel aseng ora maintenance ay igidel channels sa malubeng tao en gukngar cell earth moving regulations mang cell earth moving regulations ang mula ay igidel exempted activity el dagadoru lara dagadola permit kada mala permit din kada require environmental assessment o also mo muktal mingi sergi el muktal qora mangloringi leng mla madaged mla mosiw eng sab MLD nga permit ra earth moving din ka bol trigger environmental assessment le again arogu ilurur el padoru rada amo nga EA requirement ringi di suko mangigegi del wada qora rehabilitate maluba kada maintain eng exempted activity ending malgire del mo malganisel endi governor Rungulbay di ngire del malmo gorgi kelwase sel exemption na mal limited el moragel nga existing el tao el nga amla madageta at the same time ngire el mo nga ul mangkora del permit ngi mo nga gigidel condition wasa kada mangi sel goram era malubeng gidel nga rin igal kateng al suko mang malmo necessary maintain turbidity mangukta kal to dira kal ngal speaker oru mako ora ulleger el waseng nga kuk sabari rulia state mama malungil el rilia kuk koror state government le otobdal ari el gidel mangrove protection mangdia ka omulugol kaburs leng natural resource state hindi kaya lo local governments unless ito nga permit ra state ooy mang sige da ko class iul pira ka sa edelo rore masal mongin
si walti da kari o akargere akargere kuk tumamrayra nam tigringil wasya undiregal mlamo wala kan hirai bertak man namrain momet Ongirung ay kagidel tablol typhoon am lamay yang wabla lang amran ta mabadarat mol ang man mengas arabal nila karker Michael gi modangel waseng larnya ungil marander ngi mamle ungil tangara erngi am la model sabe el wal tiay gidel natural disaster arirun moise agim dangel wase omkong kodel mutul mikro leleng motmola engel mutul makro langigel ela oai segi tung kukwang ragi po mongot mok likirel ela ang pai class P so amrurin mo class A
dia kang malungil appoint ra ka governor tiragi darwaen el ngartiang dira dapkar material wa Kevin Paloy marule gagi dalomsub maltang sabari del leong ngoswira state el assessa gegi del basyo lel suko mang ko motor ka klil waset tiel gi moruringi mo ngil tel basyo nda ka volta mali aborda mal ko ngey el mo support kami regegi dia aborda mal da kalom to ka project di mo o mesel waset tel doruringi yung mo benefit ra blue belau mar other belau oh my right oy kamam tel ngartia mga gidetel na rong sawel wasay bay po moruring ya mongil mral mla moklo omsubil gidel tilay gid lalta men guk mla mornya gidel qorab esel technology mguk tal sal moklo ay gal suspension way gal ko Peter malubigal koradangit alwa boltov der sel area mga emal guk koradi i kora هجاجد قوك بأسل تلاتال من دقم بمسال مال مني سرني قبا يقول عمل الموت مرتيال المرتيال بارم من دقل سال مقلو هذا ملوبة التربيدي تيل around the cell area يجيد ألغو مغان سيدر yang may request رغا aboard amal mo swal aboard the lo message يجيد ال request را أدراي دقل لونيل مو أي سلنجوك مو صورت ترغال جوك ببيع عليك سرغال ممرو أسيسيو.
And we'll have an all-day workshop on dredging too. So. Okay, we're nearing the end. So spill prevention, control, and countermeasures plans (SPCC) specifically for large volume petroleum storage. Okay? There's just 2 facilities here. Blue Bay and IP&E and PPUC storage. So this is a typical program modeled after US EPA. Basically, it requires a facility to write a plan and to have certain amounts of equipment, personnel, and training on site in order to prevent spills, control them if they happen, and then take countermeasures against spills. These are well done. These are in place. We simply went through the regulations and ensured that the requirements for writing these plans for these facilities were contemporary. Okay? Any questions on SPCCs? Okay, here's we had to dredge out an artifact from the regulations. Section 401 water quality certification is a holdover from the US EPA days before Palau became a sovereign nation in 1994. The language just kind of carried through. We simply removed it. It refers to the US Clean Water Act, no longer applies here. However, the protections that are provided are incorporated in other parts of the regulations specifically applicable to Palau, so we didn't lose anything in terms of protectiveness of the regulations. Okay. Just an artifact to be removed. Okay. So something new, just a few more slides and we'll finish up. The Implementation Guidance Manual. Oh, here is... okay, an e-copy has been sent to everybody. This is something new. It's gaining a lot of favor out here in the Pacific, and it's basically a how-to manual for dischargers, the regulated community, commercial operations, how to determine whether you're in compliance or not. So it's an interpretation of the regulations which might be difficult for some people, so it's put in straightforward, plain language. As best we can do. You know, with some complex regulatory issues, sometimes you can't make it completely clear to everybody, but this helps the public go a long way. And then anything else you need, you can come in and see us, and we can explain things to you. Okay?
Comment on that? Yep. So if I can just comment on this, Governor Smul, Implementation Guidance Manual, article del Marine and Freshwater Quality Regulations, تيجي ده وقت قلبول through the EPA process. سب elabor del dingi adapter ngai del Implementation Guidance Manual mangle ultuira tegi del uriore abor damlo adapter ngai del manual el mupartra rede la EQPB Mercera June 4 regular board meeting ertir tamle adapter ngai del Implementation Guidance Manual awngil ertiang ako pol gimrega lurior malubeng ko kanya SL adal mayeng sabil wase o segi del section regulation ngaramle i-meetingi letegi del Implementation Guidance amo smada gegi dimang dire lungil more our legislators mar bekal adal beota the following el guidance manual imlanga ikapil gim sender ngi mang dil sumuanya adal so la copy just let us know and we'll send a copy to you.
Okay, this is particularly important for the large dischargers. PPUC and any future point discharges, but applies to other projects as well. Okay, just a little bit more on that. Ensures fairness because it gives you an opportunity to interpret the regulations and maybe head off some unintended action. So, last couple things to say. Enforcement is a necessary thing under regulations. Mostly we believe everybody wants to abide by regulations and do the right thing. We make that assumption. Sometimes people don't, unintentionally, unfortunately. Sometimes, in the very rare cases, they do intentionally. So enforcement and policing is always necessary. I just put the rangers up here because they are a big presence out on the surface waters, out on the ocean waters, everywhere you go. Very important part of the enforcement action. EQPB's monitoring and inspection division plays a major role in inspecting projects and highlighting deficiencies or something that's happening against our regulations. Other government authorities get involved in enforcement actions, such as the Attorney General's office. So, enforcement is the rarer condition. We see that most people are in compliance, but when they're not, and we need to exercise a little government authority, there's enforcement capabilities. They're built into our regulations, built into the EQPB mandate, into the law, and there's various entities out there in the community, in the government, that overlaps with our enforcement authority that assist us. Right? So big hand for the Rangers. They do a good job out there. And they've got the nicest boats. So last slide. It's everyone's role to protect water quality. It really is. Okay? It's not just government making people do things. It's not just a bunch of rules and regulations. I said at the beginning of the talk a couple of hours ago, environment is not a thing over there that some people take care of and some people don't, and we're over here. Environment is us. We eat it, we drink it, we live it, we are made of it. So it's everybody's responsibility. Government has its roles in the interest of everybody's common well-being, but individuals have the highest obligation. And of course, home ownership, businesses, developers, government, they are made up of people. So it's the people. Palau-wide water quality, national water quality depends on the collective action of all of us. That's all I have to say. I think it's open to the question and answer session, and thank you for listening today.
Si walang kora merkot tiar program merkide yang kangarnya bebira tokol kora dir kamasang rap turul kora malsokal mo radia halangarang kada mesada ikal wa okot maklelaran madabel belau okor mol mutra o tamrar waser samangarang nga kamalat kertial belal wasay ngar alirar watang kamera garap EQPB mal ubel ngaringa kora development plan ngarang kertial belur belal wasay awak klungel angaral pelu wak klungel angaral utama asabe elatel play so isabaringi wangarak klungel subara lo spering super system lo speringi aral mang wangarak klungel le ulak mo melokol waisay tel kurang cycle development tel merabulur belau a hotera morker yalmer adital sandel sils ekadam lamo wase dongoriam laralma Di telgeb ang overflow suwar reker. May kaya kiti adomisa sa kardi mala hotel mangaral mengar alirar watan magot moklay kiti. Lekum das yung akira del lukuk morsel sa pela bulwa da lotukur. Malakal wak lungel tiya bulwa ebla pel overflow hotel mangaral ngi mantiga al medal sa pelel. Etirgal kotel mo bular watan. Kamamal versta obli le kuterapiya kali katir ka to tubir. Tam arapon bal arangaran mo lang arapit kita ko tara mo bula yal ulak melokoy tirka ruba kati mga dekarni a hotel mga arang tiya maral takoy okoren lendia kal lo sa iken mga karen necessity al sera dalong okle kamamar maas Amaring lapter mamluasay. Ay malamaran mangkalmok, akalam, abalat ingam, arang alakam, sa lokal, elos pe aral ma. Masaldil tal sandel madaran, gahotera mong palmerker makir. Eka mama makarang, maring lapter mamlong dasulwasay. Ngarkera mo, kiba ngaltiri babalat ingam, amorasal kalam. Makumda sulwasing anna mo time labo bodo ka di ako nang bungal alar watang ding anna mo gira dum das way ke gide e morsel bol ka to baran sabi akalel ngar sula malakal way tiya bolwat ya omre sa na bolwat ya andi ke gide sula mal masawla later clow adra malungil el osengel aigal regulations serigida ulangaringi aigal ulder bela ulangaringi ako madingel lomda sola sing mo ngaringi gaigid el potential tal melle la balu le gada develop attida erosion ending gida del magad arura bli del bodak kira al sel egida del osers egida del المرو الدريتش aigal tao al metmu la gada gida del mo to del mo malakale de metmu Telguk ngar alela EQPB lektora mamalda kal sab'egal mo hukmom saadra korak klowel ngara alam di selguk ngar alela EQPB korak klorang mamal mru legal regulation el waseman sab'edal el sab'akli BELAU al skum arngege skum gadal muktal mangal maral mo leng gidet tiara da waisay ra alela el angin nganiga gidal luud ngilarong udal madingel wasay water quality gida dir kungil Bapekal time the test aral meng close timing ungila water quality there's still time ngariya gora baiging ra alsel endi sel nga gora klor ngudar nga wasay sel guk ngar alela EQPB sel ngariya project telmera madala board kama maguk mo ultaw tay gid regulation e balance sel nga impact ma social benefit tel more other abalu say guk ngar alam ding wagim ngara ender tialurior leng saygidia state amla isura permitra alis malubeng la isura building permitra a hotel masel gibo mo wagi ngar saygidal end ding agagidal gora ong dibeler gide melmol melgan tinula da do agida dal bay mo mal meru eye malas mel masab akla ay maroba agagidal tala mal ngagida daliget ngartiang mangagida board member EQPB member adalbay nga gora so mungol gora di respond del morsel gora ngingal masal wasay ra osinge del gide la amral may legal maklol project akmal maklol tal mellel nga gora so mul gide say ukom ta era board bol merege del gukti dungul morsel guktara gungi medel iget ottaw da singa nga gukora da swemel gide say gid member kasi
malmasaulan gel ul sisel ger setra mal klau tutel gel giletan ako tulule EQPB mal mindful giler ga iden impact gagim gora di mili rabo le ki email le mele galakla ako tulule kama ma mindful giler ga tablo le em ada kan do se mola temoroso moso de le mombriga aquí malas me giler minimize e maximize Seguim do minimize aqui malas o ser o developer querer el minimize aquel negative impact tra environment. Querer make sure was que role condition a compliance. And number 2 aqui maximize aquel benefit. Dia que for developers the more are other tigal other bloom of course ma ablu do alsin. Akul wa seguir le ala mbatoga issue na mera EQPB le la oi gai Digi malas malas kan bagel purwa bersebet el make sure was aquel conditions sa ada kya san mal mo mringel diga da make sure was atya lugila klangara protected selba akla mung diga gida sokal mo e ko man saun
Jake siwat ngaka visual mukmul wasay sira mamura programming mal matak kung misarang kalong okpitara kakapernor maulbilir mam leko ang blakatak kung masay ay kalbulua tirigay oklalo ay kalklalo ya aldo ma tretan lam mokla ade albes nding ade kalsal matangaliyar af tokora planning, tokora development, malubeng kukti tokora umiutil tao malubeng ngkarger. Payolingit wase silgo message tiagi the last comment Palau wide water quality depends on collective actions engid rogui. Ila ko meseng ngaringi sil tokora buffer zone kita mal mga tegatel masaw dringi. Yang ngaringi igel wall regulation kami EQPB multaut 30 feet ma 60 feet. Ay ke kumrangal ko sing agidel mornya clouding rekal BELAU. Especially si lorula land use plan certif. Let them rule zones to make sure and comparable a state ma national law. Akum da suel ang diya takaw tingi. Example, ablul orior makatakatang plan ringi. Palso kung toma ka sa buduro mo update, at least hindi ka resistance katabay all in compliance. Sige tabay ko aso kal sharing Edol mol BELAU ma telobis nakaloror sige da kumdas ngungil teletal sebeda durable iron out differences circuit koy morsel tingin la adalbay kadamora max kad maximize ra max adange chairman sulang
Dakamal masaw dilung kayo the speaker ablilyo ang nga commentary.
Sulang siwal as a legislator kama makukungarap lumam marurala for benefit travelue. Mela kuk asuko maki reclassify ra LMOB. Esa nganya potential investment ng BELAU. Ngarat procedures let's say imla authority legislation imla ko ngiringi. Mangarat procedures sa state kirel address elaki EQPB girel metmu access sa the request ra states ra reclassification dire ka local was EQPB sabel approve or disapprove ra gigidel kiplam reclassify was yang AA so rungil mo bilit nganya potential investment malubeng so make some changes sa gidel area overung halevikas elang nganegel baby ra place dia mal source ral mortir mang tos pa ito nganya certain rate ra terral melwas tel ito sa kisil mora teral fitting na mo safe for consumption maruma tos pa sula
Kaya makot temor selwa talgari malgire la process for reclassification, for example from a class AA LMOB en segi del SL regulation segi de speaker amal mamatakli segi del process leng before airtel regulation en wal dimle ngorawa dible process el adapteringi ol tawteringi dimla kal part regulations mang elang malmlamo ngara regulations el blakataklam سيجي الجورا assessment الجيل المقطمق لو قول من كلو تتلال البارت ترى reclassification الجميع مرورني لين جيل نرا developer المرور سيجي الستادي لين يا مدني الوسي نرا سوال نرا موجود مكلي الجيل سيجي الوال development plan رني يا جيل التلان تاني لو رور الدولساد الجيل العرال جيل sewer gire la water quality magadam sumagadam discharge ra agigida dal gora mo omdasul waseng agigidal mo impact ra reclassification sabedal kada realize sabedal mo ol takaw agigidal el impact nganya ability gidal nganya resources ra gidal mo gutmokla masel reclassification process korawal beyot sodel and diesel bodom tabringi lulture gagi del bladasao del tora regulations sama rungulira bekel adal sori raungil dav en segi de amoruli maul malgire del ngire lultui raungil el assessment el wasetel bodoruringi yang ngungil ndia segi del plumberly malubagana dulil wase yang legislature amlarula resolution ma imla adapteringi en segi dia mo support ra requester kami will mo reclassify emerong emerabor de tiraguk
ngaring segid el authority ang rabor del mo reclassifying el mobi oo mang wayal ko ang arsel segid el guk ula national government el na otorgakli el wase segid ya process el board ara EQPB o mesagel water classifications ngia all tauter tagi del regulation el ngani gagi del classes of water malsuko magad mo change sa el class el mongot el class engide labor del ngi ongora artial regulation el mo change ringi hindi sagi del mo change ringi au tuira process el bladat makli le ulmang important el gobak tu sagi dia Dagals LD resolution ra state el mail wase agimo reclassify tangi and then aboard the gida the labor the like board member said ngomes ra impact ma benefit mangida el multur segi del assessment te mega decision ringi segi denga mo fair decision ringi mang yes samral nga ong tila state el mail wase so ma mo reclassify ra ral mra dabra agagid el belumam from A to B ding walak sa del assessment talo banggel mang agil mo talmulu sa lerong alwasay giri wel mornga environmental assessment talo banggel matagi del regulation ang lam makatakli sa del process alwasay so mang may ong will reclassify giri wel mla attach sa del environmental assessment mang aware the reclassify ang ngil the conductor al drele environmental assessment dire galul dimo korse agora kora social study kada kora mlangwa kada mlahol the public hearings mla consult with other ablu that way sel merabor ding biotal reclassify le kami amla otter ka click mo set kay gidia amla ultude gagi del process le before ang kora dak say del process mang end up pabor the ruling rior emro nga other ablu asenda kan dimlagim gangertiang emro nga tame masoril stobra project mang segi denga kuk stoba kadam lam kad arus telurol mo halfway tirame other lol dagalo moral dagalo ngeringi mongora di mede elogul di daga complete ringi so segi di agora atara improvement tel regulation I know it's process el gira del mga smokerini all I can do is mas kami segi del background del malubeng om so del mga un manglo why say igida digid el marital mungil ndiya ke guk sab el state el remula we al ul el muatter ge gidia are there any requirements for how did you go in the wells? Amal mo talaga sa question na speaker.
Hindi ka tilgal wase nga niya bepira place mal dia ka source ralma matos pe a ito. El aikel idong how deep visit ang mo safe sa era consumption maruba uspel marula kalirang ara.
That's a very hard question to answer because it's dependent on how deep your groundwater is. So if you're too shallow, if you're too close to septic tanks, you'll get bacterial contamination. If you go too deep, you're going to hit the salt water and then you're going to get saltwater intrusion. So the question is, what's the answer? Well, we don't have the answer, but we can come and test and show you whether or not it's contaminated with bacteria.
Kabong kahaladom sa karuba kamalense.
Speaker, akarim ang aring term lang motmokl, for example, siya adoru raral mara ang ayangal. Ang aring isiral ngal sila utumal domotos yung basal lens. Segit sel freshwater lungila atal sel osperingi ya oborior se komorsil aro. Mang sel aurior waral ma ulun din dalela ido amo determine omsu butangan nga engineers sa sabil lo masips egalek te sel water sample mo otil se adal elang right time ngil telang Isegi dar adra blua ang usel assurance ra design. EQPB ultira kasel design e permit ngi to make sure and dia kam over extract toy. Le sel mon sem over extract mal tu sel aroro. Ang sel ido amlam tamal basically forever. Oy, mak maten si segit makwa di share information sulang.
Saula delegate Tarigidra. Can you clarify who is the best to do NEA? Kapong MC, so ko ram araw la bangalela, emra lungil time, halil ko rame, eberni mel ko ral mupel, ngoy gidel mura endra workshop gide ko mal masulang.
It is now 12:35. We are actually 25 minutes ahead of schedule. Now I have a question for you all. Did we meet your objective in attending this workshop? Yes. Okay. Now the next step. Yes, give ourselves a round of applause. Kumran masaw ramra lungil discussion. Ang mal mo mesro mam adra EQPB agidi masang mal luus ay gel garmiu ay gette elam mal malaklo blam dire kumran masawl. Dolomol ma alsela folder garmiu, you will find the half sheet evaluation. Again, we request your feedback is so very important. Take a minute, go over the evaluation. I believe all you have to do is tick the boxes, and of course we provided additional sheets of paper. All of your comments are welcome. Take time to note it. Otherwise, just come after we close and we'll discuss some more. And again, we are ahead of schedule, a very engaged discussion. And so today we looked at the updated regulations. So these regulations are working for us. That's why every now and then, based on studies, based on research, technology, we come together and update it to ensure we continue to protect our environment. And our agenda today, just like the regulations, it's been constantly updated. And so, for closing remarks, I ask that you allow me to call upon the Honorable Mewang Rungulbay, Governor of Iray State, to come up here, give us his perspective of all that we've discussed today, and maybe share some insight on how we can all work together, EQPB contractors, resource owners, as we move forward to protect our environment. Governor?
Delegatra at pangungilita sils. So la megureng asule la ceremony kamamara smul mangak makabenor ngorolong. Mamitirel ko tolola pala al kabenor rablur belau. Ako tuluulak man mereng asuli wa aradra EQPB. Marolong ang tiyak na tuloy ang klen di dialoreng sa. Ang nakarirang klen mang. Di ko te gureng asuli wa aradra EQPB. Mas iun mo ko dongi o at yan may makadamok di bile mo ka o tangay. So apol blakatak kloas India katara kabenor sel soal mal ubengi dil atra igal belul soal mal mada polwal. Dingwa bodore that time sa project tau ulmal bebila kitmor andi agi bomubo agi kitmor aklangal tangat oil alsil sel blata may mo ka odangera o at agi dul ku PSL kumla update tra tial regulation tengwa gi mo banggela periusel maral ngi aburusela EQPB. Ulmal bebirata magi mabungrom roma yang ikan namolu madrangera kam namo obsolete teknologi mana advance ekme adi omroer kam rabek sils di el alba adga wadengel wasen dia kom gukmla improve mal kom la update taigal regulation da EQPB en lom sel mergama am dengel wasen madoro rek damral betul ger nguarat letel makmul waisia kumda sokotel victim ra en EQPB ay ray mo orior eleng ngarang omgonti ay rayans kororians beotra kama mamatbok lengguk kekereket mukil kama disel lomes radel go okum sekdar oror mayray yan demandrar adel lildoy sertir en mogira mal murula rael murula ngaramang endin ngalsong saraudo da ul magi molsiswa ay investment Maselgi molsis beng maigal gulgol waseng blayor rangal songo sarkama marak klawat ngeral ula EQPB bagi memengerum bergemiu yang masarang mam bergemiu mamlo tokol tokoy ndim ko mle blakatak luai elang empe terkama meluasi magi merail betul ger ngaragi uspera EQPB bakye ko kada ada do eko moro bakko lama mel morai geyid ndi kamam tialak alwid chairman smulra teraka benorma abenora ngaralong mlamot telgibul loko sangam emtet telom sap telmam sama am tengel wasi mawangaraw alelato namo blakatak wasi aprogul to adorul en giredel hara a professional mermula study dinagi modengel wasi tiang required tiang atia magi demda se tiagi dia guk telel osangam makka tengel magi wasen se edergo hedem ruraw dio digin namom tige mo blakatak ramam wasi india Gire dan berulai galudu. Bah, kus pengelarang mam lekor kebar ada EQPB, ada kan bah kus pengelarang mam. Ngsiel ngalsong serak klaw dengai, rekam mam ul magi muaise. Indi al blakatak la kumral lo serbek la dan ngartiar rum, baru reng slogi wa radio, kama blakatak kertil wase. Kita ada kau araro. Maral toy, abul mam, ada mam, aral mal mam. Hindi aral maray-ray, maledel bekla siya, blakatak. Ako lingit rin marada EQPB, hindi ako po kasi parang buro kamam, mongol sungar kamam, makyo lingit, tambel almong suko magyo lingit ang esor kamiw, mor kolomam, mura immoral. Hindi tiyagit. Albibirata makyo ko, ako taruma, set gitaran mura ringi, mukadam ringi, ako nexel kimo, ako kimorma, sindihan sa gitara, alpodora ringi. Magikkusora raureng, emo mangialu ke musikla raureng ewase, begitu kata mo makarang. El alsil sang ablakatak luase indiak, adoru raudor, engirel tirgel tiram tu raudor, owarwaen, enakang orang man mering la aram sel dos per kau raidai. Tirgai kita sebel dos ia zumeng el kamam mamamrairengi. Mak maldin mutun berang asular adra EQPB, mar adra rogun bekel di berela luase kata nama meraira immoral. Imol elitak ladong itak rengi ya EQPB pansor gitu komam sulam.
Maral masaula ha Governor Great Irai State maral madul so mas maaldu ma segi dang lam so mas maaldu endi however moral I just have two more announcements please. The evaluation in your folder, again, it's a tool for us to ensure that the next workshop, we continually improve our information sharing. Please fill it out, drop it at the registration desk. There's Yaya and Dilu right there ready to receive the evaluation. Also, from the audience, many of you actually requested for a copy of Peter's presentation. I want you to know that I have his permission. He is very much willing to share this presentation as it is loaded with all kinds of good information. However, this presentation as it is over 50 MB. That may trip up our internet service. So please give us a time. Peter says he will turn it into PDF format so that it becomes smaller, hopefully 10, 15, so we can email it to you. Make sure you wrote your email so we have it at the front. If not, turn your evaluation sheet over, write down your email, and just put an asterisk there so we know you want a copy of this presentation. We will email it to you. If you do not receive your copy by Friday, please call us at EQPB. Our number is 488-1639, not just for the presentation, but for anything else we can do to work with each other to ensure we protect our environment. Omral Masaul.